This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Now what the heck are we supposed to do? Draft is over.
Yep. Now we talk about how good or how bad it was. Even though these guys haven't gotten the field yet.
Yes. The grades.
Yep.
Without even stepping on a football field. So we get to do that. And then upcoming preseason games sometimes leak out. May 12th, I think, is the date for the schedule to come out, right? So there's a little bit more excitement still to be had here in Jacksonville and around the NFL. And then, obviously you got to get to work for this group, this new 9. I heard Stuart Weber say, I kind of liked it. I might steal that.
What is
it? And the new 9 draft picks.
The new 9. All right.
And see what else the Jaguars do to build this roster. And it doesn't sound like they're done with tight end. I even think that's on top of, obviously, the Tebow talk. So what else could they do? Will they do? Make a trade? Or just build an offense that doesn't really include a pass-catching tight end, because that is something that they might have to do. Overall, we talked Friday that Tyson Campbell could be the guy, ends up being the guy.
Yep, Vegas had it right.
Vegas did have it right. Still, like people didn't like this. We begged the question, like I put on social media that night. Like they're not big on C.J. Henderson. Is there something going? Yeah, that seemed like forever ago now. That conversation from Friday night and from Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
but there's just few teams that are invested in the cornerback position. Like the Jacksonville Jaguars are now invested in the quarterback position. So you use that for whatever interpretation that you want. But you're talking now a 9th overall pick a year ago, a 33rd overall pick Friday, and $40 million plus for Shaquille Griffin. That's fine. If you think that's normal, or if you think that's just, hey, that's the way the game's going, that's cool. Like, that's okay to think that way. Maybe that is. Maybe that's the Jags just saying, hey, we're going to put a lot of emphasis on it. But if you also don't think that raises some eyebrows to be invested that much in that position on a football team that has some holes now, right? Yeah. I mean, they actually have more corners than they do pass rushers that you feel good about then. Right? If everybody's healthy, if everybody lines up, you're like, well, we're deeper at corner than we are at pass rusher. That's not that normal in the NFL, like to want that, I don't think. So, again, take it. You can read it a bunch of different ways. The Jags came out and said, Trent Baalke, Urban Meyer said, hey, yeah, healthy, ready to go. As long as I think Baalke, as long as he's healthy, then C.J. Henderson will be ready to go. The Jags think they had a bunch of depth. They need more of that. Urban even hinted at the injuries history and said, okay, you can't be left in the dust with nothing at corner. That's one heck of an insurance policy, and kind of admitted that it might be a bit of an insurance policy. We'll see who moves inside potentially, who's outside, where they play, and that's what's on the roster now. But it was a wild night on social media. Because people are like, I can't believe you would say potentially this raises questions about it. I mean, I just don't know how your brain doesn't go there. And a lot of folks, Austin, said, well, you need 2. Well, I know you need 2. Yeah. They signed a guy for $40 million in free agency. They got 2.
Yeah, no.
But do you need 3? Yeah, you know what? You do need 3 these days a lot of times. But do you need this kind of investment in 3? Well, that's debatable.
Well, you definitely need 3. Okay, and we can go ahead and say it's like the Miami Dolphins did last year.
Yeah, and that's the closest thing I can come to, right?
Does somebody mind telling me how the Miami Dolphins finished in pass defense last year on team defense? They finished 8th worst, by the way, in case you didn't know.
Was it that bad?
They were horrible last year in terms of pass defense.
That surprised me. I didn't think it would be that bad.
So there you go. Now, once again, injuries were a thing. I get that. But at the end of the day, a team that invested so much in shutting the pass game down didn't do that last year. Now, their defense overall as a whole was pretty good, but not shutting down the pass. So when you bring in a guy like Tyson Campbell, now how do I feel about it? Once again, we don't know what's going to happen with C.J. Henderson. We don't know if there's the injuries, if we don't know if mentally, whatever the case may be, we're not sure where C.J. Henderson is at right now, and we're not sure if he's going to be out there week 1. I think he's going to be. I haven't heard anything to tell me that he's not going to be out there, but time will tell. But if we're talking about taking that luxury pick at number 33, round 2, okay. But then it begs the question, well, what is the plan? Like, I hope there is a plan in place. Because I can sit here and say, okay, well, I get it. We're going to move either C.J. Henderson or you're going to have Tyson Campbell. I assume Shaq Griffin's still playing the outside, but you have one of those guys play the slot corner. Okay, that's fine.
They didn't pay someone $40 million to play the slot corner, did they?
No.
Okay.
I'd hope not. But what you have to remember is the slot corner position and the regular corner position are two completely different things. And they're a different skill set. They're a different type of footwork. Everything about those positions are different. So I guess I like the confidence, but who's to say Tyson Campbell or C.J. Henderson fit into a slot corner position? How do we know that? Like, I remember when the Green Bay Packers drafted Casey Hayward a couple years ago. It's probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. Drafted Casey Hayward out of Vanderbilt. Slot corner guy. Like, what was all the draft experts, one of the best slot corner guys in the league. Goes to Green Bay. Not that good. What happens? Goes to Los Angeles, and now is one of the best corners in the league. Cover corners, not a slot corner,
guys.
because he's playing out of position. So there is a difference there.
Well, I'll give you another one. Aaron Colvin was brilliant here for the Jags. Went to Houston, tried to be an outside guy, couldn't make it. I mean, you hardly know he's in the league anymore.
Yeah, not going to happen. So there is a difference between the slot corner position and just that outside guy. I just hope there's a plan in place of what they plan on doing. And I hope one of these guys, whether it is Tyson Campbell or C.J. Henderson, can play that spot. Because to bring in Tyson Campbell, and let's assume right now that C.J. Henderson's going to be the starter, to bring in Tyson Campbell and say, okay, someone's got to play the slot, that's fine. But if you want to talk about value and you want to talk about the long-term goal, you can't have one of those guys sitting on the bench. You can't have C.J. Henderson riding the bench. You can't have Tyson Campbell riding the bench. If you take a guy in the second round, he's got to start, especially on a defense last year that won one game.
Yeah, I agree. And so it'll be really interesting to play it out. And maybe, by the way, this depth and this build on the secondary a little bit will pay off because there's depth. Like, it really could help. Listen, you can never have enough depth. I understand injuries and all of that. It's just it's I wouldn't even say it's peculiar. I just think it's interesting. Like, there's reason to raise a curiosity about it. And it was like, I just couldn't believe the reaction on social media. It was like, how dare you say, wow, what does this mean for, right? I mean, it's no different than asking, hey, Walker Little, what does that mean for Cam Robinson? You just got signed a franchise tag. Well, they just picked a guy, in the second round at tackle.
See, but it's a little different though with him because he's coming off an injury. Like,
well,
I think the goal for Walker Little is they're going to ease him into it. Now, he might earn a starting spot down the line because everyone says when he was playing, he was good. But this is a guy that hasn't played football in 2 years, so I think they're going to be a little more lenient on him.
Let's go Cliff Notes version of this. Walker Little, did you like that pick? Now, you talk about value there. I could see there be a ton of upside and value. It just 45th overall. Is that the time you try to take that or not? Listen, fans around here don't love the offensive line. If you do project a little down the road, the offensive line, we've said this multiple times over the last couple weeks, couple months, that you can project that some of these guys might not be here even as soon as next year. So not immediate impact, which you're not usually a fan of, especially on a 1-15 team.
Absolutely.
But you can see the logic in Walker Little that might pay off dividends for this franchise for the next few years.
See, it's funny because I feel like the first maybe 3 picks had Urban Meyer written all over them.
Yeah.
And then
they did, by the way, because he had college experience knowing some of those guys.
And then the next 2 picks, it seemed like they had Trent Baalke written all over them. The Walker Little pick, I mean, you know how I feel about it, man. We've echoed this for Shock Your Mock for so long. When you take a guy in the second round, I expect him to come in and play right away. Now, I understand that there is value there because he's coming off of the knee injury, didn't really play last year. Okay, so he didn't play. He's probably going to be a little rusty, but if he's 100% like he was in college, then yeah, you probably got a guy that's going to replace Cam Robinson or maybe plays Drawn Taylor because he has played both sides. Fantastic. But my question is, okay, so you got him. Was tight end really that big of a deal to you, though? Because you told me that it was. And I'm taking you at your word for it. So maybe it wasn't that big of a deal because, once again, obviously Freiermuth was there and things like that. And I know people are going to tell me, well, the tight end's not the biggest, it's not that big of a deal in terms of the overall grand scheme of things. And maybe not. But how are we feeling right now with Tim Tebow, Luke Farrell, and the guy out of Carolina?
Not good.
Okay. So, to me, the whole point of the draft is to fill those holes and to say, okay, you know what? We feel a lot better than when we went in the draft. In my opinion, I might feel a little worse than when you went in the draft in terms of tight end position. And that shouldn't be the goal of the NFL draft. So do I feel better at offensive tackle? Sure. Walker Little is probably going to come in and be a dominant force when he gets healthy, when he knocks that rust off. But at pick 45, could you really afford that? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good call. Freiermuth, did he go off? I was just double checking. I feel like he went off the board right before. Let me just double check, make sure I get it right. But what I'm thinking is there was a major drop off. Let's see, Freiermuth. I got him right here. Hang on.
Pat Freiermuth went 55.
Yeah,
to
he went
Pittsburgh.
after. He went after. Okay. So, yeah, you could definitely make that case. Had to get back to our senses on Friday night. But, yeah, so it was a bit of surprise that they didn't go tight end there, right? Now you could see the other stuff, the drop-off and whatever, how you want to evaluate the down. I could see that. But Freiermuth, obviously they weren't as high on Freiermuth as everybody else was too, and that if you really look at what we talked about going into this draft, and I think it was Pelissero, and I think he had one of the best comments or nuggets of information going into the draft that I can remember of anybody else. He said there are a lot of teams that have first-round draft grades on like 14 to 16 guys. And after that, watch out. It could be the wild, wild west because how people view like pick number 17 through the third round could be really different. And I think that's how it kind of played out. Like there were guys that we had all seen in mock drafts and the group think had kind of said that. Remember, Shad Khan even told me on Wednesday, said, hey, might be some surprises here. I think ETN even fit that bill in the first round, So some of this, you got to get past the group think of, hey, every mock draft had Freiermuth going by number 45 to the Jaguars, which all of ours did in Shock Your Mock. So we were kind of trained that way. Obviously not on the board for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They thought there was a ton of value in the Walker Little pick. I don't mind the Walker Little pick. I can see the logic in it. I see the sense in it. And if you go big fella, it's never a bad thing, in my opinion, in the draft, even early. I'm kind of like you. I want impact right away. And even Urban Meyer said he expects the first 3, 4, 5 picks to have impact. I'm not sure you see that in Walker Little. Now, he could, and he could be a swing guy, and he's going to push people, but pushing people for competition and actual impact are two different things.
No, I think that's what Urban Meyer alluded to with that, saying, he's going to be, the quote-unquote motivator for these guys in training camp. At the same time, does Cam Robinson need any more motivation?
Probably not. We're talking maybe a $85-100 million deal out there if he plays well.
We're talking about a grown man who's been in this business for a while who realizes, like, listen, this is your last chance right now. You got lucky at the franchise tag. You're getting some money. Congratulations, but it's not long term. If you want that big deal, all right, if you want the Orlando Brown-esque deal coming to his way eventually, then you got to play well this year. Like, Cam Robinson, in my opinion, doesn't need any more motivation. If he does, well, then he doesn't belong in the NFL in the first place. And I don't think that's really the case. So then when we look at this draft and we ask, well, what was the goals of this draft? Obviously to help out Trevor Lawrence a little bit, right? Like you drafted Travis Etienne, that's going to help out Trevor Lawrence. But then my question is, what helps out Trevor Lawrence more? Drafting a number one tight end unequivocally, because and once again, we'll see who they have in terms of depth down the line here. But one would think a guy like Freiermuth would come in and be the starter day one. Would that help Trevor Lawrence out more? Or would Walker Little, taking his time, getting back to playing tackle, probably, sitting on the pine a little bit, maybe pushing Cam Robinson, maybe pushing Juwan Taylor, but not being the starter day one, would that help Trevor Lawrence more?
Yeah, that's a good call, and it's a fair question. It's a question I think we should hold, and I think it's a question that we should revisit down the road, because by October or November, if we see an injury on that offensive line amongst one of those two, and knock on wood, I hope it doesn't happen to him, or poor play, could we then see an insert Walker Little being inserted into the lineup, and then we answer that question in a different way because now you got protection. You know what I mean? So I would sit here and tell you, yes, I think I would feel better about a tight end helping out Trevor Lawrence. But they do have some people that can catch the ball. All right? They don't have that position right now that can do that. So does this say something about Juwan Taylor? Does this say something about long-term Cam Robinson? Or does this kind of help having a little bit of depth that you can rely on that pays off even this year, given injuries or poor play? That's a good question to ask, not only just right now, but a little bit down the road. Andre Sisco is a guy, I think fans love this pick. Like, this was a pick that can get you excited even though there's injury. Like, I think we dismiss injury for the ball-hawking nature of this guy. He can really get to the football. And let's be honest, haven't had a ton of those guys. I think Tayshaun Gibson in the back end had a little bit of that in him, although it wasn't unbelievable with the Jags. It actually, he was better in other spots. In fact, he got frustrated in the defense because he wasn't allowed to go get the ball a little bit more under Gus Bradley's scheme and Todd Wash's scheme. This is a guy that, when healthy, if he gets there, and they might have to be a little bit patient with that part. You got a guy back there that's of that ball hawking nature. You know, there's usually a knock on corners and safeties. Well, not great ball skills, not great ball skills, not great ball skills. Well, this guy's got tremendous ball skills. Yeah. And that's exciting. That's exciting for a defense, exciting for turnovers, because turnovers win the day in football and especially in the NFL. I really like this pick. I think a lot of people like this pick. Might just have to show a little patience in the early going, of course, coming off an October ACL.
Yeah, once again, and that's kind of where the value comes in, I feel like. And once again, like, this is, to me, I love this pick as well. I agree with everybody else here. The Jaguars needed a safety, and I think they got one. They got a guy who can, you know, he's a great tackler. He is the ball hawk. I think, like Mel Kiper said 25 times during, talking about, oh, yeah, for sure. But I love it, man. I'm all for it.
Well, the numbers don't lie. The numbers are crazy, right? It's like 13 picks in 24 games, something like that.
This is a guy who is versatile, who can do a lot of things. And this is a guy who, once again, I feel like there's no pressure on him to come in and start day one because he's coming back from that injury. And when you have a guy like Jared Wilson back there holding it down a little bit, that's fine. Like, I'm not mad right now with Jared Wilson being the starting free safety or Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, me either.
Not mad whatsoever, because we said it before. How many times did you watch a game last year and say, oh, Jared Wilson, out of position. Oh, that guy missed a tackle. Like, you don't say that too much about Wilson, and that defense was very porous last year. So I like the fact that this guy, is slated to be a stud when he's ready, when he's healthy. You can afford to buy a little time on that with Cisco, and I think once he's 100%, and obviously Joe Cohen and company can coach him up right, I think he's going to be a special player in that 3-4 defense.
All right, let's rip down these other guys. Jay Tufele, Jordan Smith, Luke Farrell. There is your tight end. Jalen Camp as well. I can't go crazy over these picks, okay? I mean, it's really hard to.
So Jordan Smith is funny to me because he is the prototypical Joe Cohen pick. Like, I guarantee Joe Cohen slammed his fists on the table and said, get me Jordan Smith. Because he's a guy who, obviously he went through a little trouble leaving Florida, goes to JUCO, goes to UAB, but plays with a relentless motor, something that Joe Cohen loves a lot. Now, he's got to add size. Obviously, he's tall. He's lanky, a little undersized, though, kind of, a little timid at the point of contact, but you see it there. Like, you see the potential there, and most importantly, you see the finish there. And that's what Joe Cohen needs. Like, as long as you can bring in the attitude, the mindset, and the finish, and you got decent size, Joe Cohen and company, obviously, because he's not coaching defensive line, but he can work with that and make you a great player.
What did you watch a little tape on this guy, or did you see a bit of it, some highlights?
Yep.
Because he said he's got an arsenal of moves, which is unique for someone coming out of school, where you usually develop the arsenal of moves. Like, that's one of his strengths, is what he said, basically. Yeah. And I feel like that's an interesting comment that I heard, because we see so many other players, man, they're really strong. They can bull rush. They're quick. They're quick first step, but they got to learn more moves. They got to learn more about the technique. They got to learn more. And I'm not saying this guy's got it all figured out. Yeah. But it was interesting to hear him say that's one of his strengths, because it's usually the opposite way, I feel like, coming out of school.
No, it is. I mean, it depends where you go to school, right? Obviously, he was a highly coveted guy at a high school, gets into some trouble once again, has to go to the JUCO route. And then go the JUCO route, sometimes your skills diminish a little bit. You go to UAB. But you see the guy on film, and for where he's at, from where he's coming from, yeah, I would say he's an experienced pass rusher. I mean, he's not polished by any means, but he shows a good get-off, shows a good burst, and you can't teach being, 6'6" or 6'7" as they list. I think 6'6". You can't teach that. They can add size on him and put weight on him so he's not a liability in the run game, but that just screams Joe Cohen to me.
Yeah, and I thought Urban Meyer was really good on Jordan Smith. It's funny, you listen to Smith, he's like, I got all these moves. I'm going to show everybody I'm the best pass rusher in the league coming out, not in the league, but in this draft class. And then Urban Meyer's like, well, Jordan Smith's going to be a developmental guy. It's going to take him a little bit, but we think he can get there. It was kind of
it's the truth, though. I mean, listen.
Well, I know. Yeah. Jordan Smith's like, yeah, man, I'm going to go in there. You watch this, which is great, which is what you want.
What guy that just got drafted is going to go, I'm not going to lie, my pass rush moves are kind of, they suck right now. But give me some time. Hopefully we get better.
Yeah. I know. It was just an interesting. But that was more about Urban, by the way, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I said it over the weekend again. I just think the transparency on these guys are from Urban Meyer has been terrific. I mean, he went down the list and said, well, we think this guy can contribute right away. We think this guy's going to do this. We think this guy, well, it's going to take a little bit, but we like his ceiling. I mean, very straightforward. You just, I don't know, you just don't seem to get that, or maybe I've missed it over the years, but this feels different in that regard, and I love that part of it. I just asked this. Tefeli, Smith, Farrell, and Camp, the last 4 picks the Jags made, do you have a favorite in there? You got a defensive lineman. You obviously have a defensive end. You have the tight end. And you have Camp, who has all these crazy measurables from the wide receiver position, though. That looks like that will be kind of a developmental guy as well.
I like Tefeli because, I mean, once again, you know, I'm a Jordan Smith guy because I'm biased playing that edge spot, playing that defensive end spot. But if we're being honest here, I like Tefeli just because he dropped a little bit because he opted out this past season. But in terms of what he's capable of in a 3-4 defense, you can put this guy in a lot of spots. And I feel like he's not going to have a problem two-gapping. Pretty athletic, kind of a freak, man. So I like the fact that he's versatile day one.
Jags didn't mind the opt-out guys.
No.
Not at all.
Much to the – because didn't Trent Baalke kind of allude to, we'll see with those guys?
Yeah, and I think the value was there with the opt-out guys.
Yeah.
You know, so to speak. And so they got some of those. All right, we'll take a break. How much better did the Jags get? Who's on – watch out time, look out time now because of some of these picks. A lot to get to today on a Monday. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly to mostly sunny today and hot. This afternoon will rise into the low 90s, then drop down tonight into the upper 60s under partly cloudy skies. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedjig.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where now through Mother's Day, you can save thousands on that one-of-a-kind gift for mom.
It's been 6 months since my wife leased her new Cadillac from Fields Auto Group, and she absolutely loves it. It's our first experience with Fields, and it's been terrific. They say you can step up to luxury for less, and we did. Not just a luxury Cadillac XT6. The car is beautiful, but the customer service is extra special too. It was like that at Fields Cadillac Jacksonville, and it will be like that at any of the Fields locations in Jacksonville. Cadillac, of course, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche as well. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. We are now part of that Fields Amenities program, and my wife tried the loaner program. It was easy and a nice added benefit. So whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less. Check out their locations all around Jacksonville, just like we did. You can go visit fieldsauto.com. Need a good paying job with a flexible work schedule and benefits? A1A Solar is looking for you. $70,000 is a reasonable first-year expectation. Seasoned reps can easily make 6 figures. Leads provided to you as well. Health, dental, 401k benefits. A1A Solar is a tremendous company, voted best places to work in Jacksonville, and in 2016 was the Veteran-Owned Business of the Year. Be a part of an awesome company at A1A Solar. Just go visit A1ASolar.com.
Hello, you have reached the Crooks Arrest Training Helpline for all you newbies out there, where staying away from safe touch houses is not just a motto.
It's a golden rule.
Correct. Today, we'll point out the differences in video surveillance systems. First, the ding-dong doorbell camera.
Simple, easy to install, and easy to hack.
Yep. You know the news stories about hackers and employees hacking into those do-it-yourself video cameras.
But not with SafeTouch.
Right. SafeTouch has multiple safeguards, including encrypted technology, which protects it from hackers.
Plus, now SafeTouch offers advanced video surveillance systems with interior, exterior, and 24/7 video storage.
Just one more reason we always stick to the Crooks R Us golden rule. Stay away from safe-touch houses. Tattoo that on your brain, newbie.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jacks Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The golf club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the golf club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the golf club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY.
The Jacksonville Auto Show is back. Celebrate one of the First Coast's premier events, May 7th through 9th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Check out the hottest 2021 models, ride and drives, classics and exotics, and even historic military vehicles. Everything sanitized in a safe and clean environment. The Auto Show Mother's Day weekend, May 7th through 9th. Free parking from ViStar Credit Union. Discount coupons at gate gas stations. Tickets available only online at jacksautoshow.com.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey folks, living in Florida, we don't really worry about the seasons except for one, hurricane season. And since your home is your most important asset, protecting your home with Rhino Shield against harsh Florida weather is good for your house and it's good for your budget. As the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to your house, those cracks in the walls will cost you thousands if not repaired. Rhino Shield waterproofs your home with a coating that's 13 times thicker than box store paint. It reflects 97% of harmful UV rays, has a Class A fire rating, is salt air corrosive resistant, contains the highest quality ceramics, and of course it comes in any color. Plus, with our 25-year warranty, you get a non-prorated 100% transferable warranty that guarantees against chipping, cracking, and peeling. So call 904-519-5055 or visit rhinoshieldjacks.com and protect your house and your budget.
So you'll never have to paint again. Call Rhino Shield today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. If you didn't catch today's episode, I'm not mad at you, not even disappointed, but check out what you missed.
What's like the concept?
It's like mini games that you kind of compete battle royale style, but it's mini games and you just try to, be the last one standing essentially.
Let me try this again. So what is the concept?
It'll be
English. Check out our podcast on all platforms. Just search ESPN 690. Subscribe to our podcast. Thanks.
Brent Martineau.
They probably already have one. Cornholing.
Austin Lane.
You're going to have a call from PR in a little bit here.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
I mean, you need more than two. You saw last year how quickly things can change. So the game with as many 4 and 5 wides as you're seeing in today's game, you need guys that can cover. And the whole goal was to do a good job of increasing our ability on the back end of the defense, and I think we've done that.
That is Trent Baalke, Jaguars GM, his first draft in Jacksonville. I thought he might be a little more active on the trades.
Yeah.
He did pull one off, obviously, to go get Jordan Smith. They didn't like anything after that, and I'm cool with it because, to be honest with you, the fact that they ended their day in the 6th round to me makes sense. You have so many. I've said this before. Your roster spots are you're like maxed out. Look how many undrafted free agents they signed. It's like a handful of them. That's it. Yeah. Usually that list is like 12, 13, 15 long. Sometimes I feel like it's even been like I'm envisioning the email we get on that, and it's usually really long. Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't this year because they already have so many roster spots filled, at least for now. Mm-hmm. Not saying they can't improve, get better, make transactions, but how many draft picks did you really need? Like, did you need 6th and 7th round draft picks that you might end up having to cut or at least definitely put on the practice squad? So I like to move up to go get a guy. They just did it once, though. And I was starting to work on that. I was like, holy cow, this is going to be the most stunning thing of the draft if Trent Baalke doesn't make a trade. Yeah. I would have been stunned. I was stunned last year. It was the most stunning thing of 2020's draft with 12 picks. They picked them all in the same spot they had them. So I would have been really, really surprised if that was the case, and it didn't turn out to be, obviously. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane on a Monday after the 2021 NFL Draft is in the books. And the big question is, how much better did the Jaguars get? And I guess it all starts and kind of stops with the first overall pick, doesn't it?
Yeah, unequivocally better because they got Trevor Lawrence, obviously. So there are strides better from where they were last year. How much better did they get? And when you ask that question, obviously I go to, this up-and-coming season.
Yeah.
Right? I think if we're here talking 2 or 3 years from now, we're going to say, wow, it's possible this team got really better because you have guys like Cisco and you have guys like Walker Little. And maybe Jordan Smith, develops. And with Tyson Campbell as well, we'll see. So that question 2 or 3 years from now, I think would be legitimate. If you ask me right now, how much better did this team get? You still have to say they got a lot better because they added 9 draft picks, right? And this is 9 new faces, 9 fresh, guys with fresh blood that are coming to a team that won 1 game last year. So, of course, they got better. Now, from the personnel standpoint, obviously Trevor Lawrence, your starting quarterback. Travis Etienne will get reps at running back. I'm not going to pencil him as a starter quite yet, right? Because you still have James Robinson. But you don't draft the guy number 25 and don't get him his touches, so I'm not worried about that. I think Tyson Campbell will have some role on this defense right away. And then from there, we'll see. There's some question marks, right? And that's all we can say at this point. So, yeah, on offense, I think they got a lot better. Obviously, on defense with Tyson Campbell, we'll see. Once again, is he going to be playing the slot corner? How is that transition going to go for him? Time will tell. I think they got better in offense. Defense, time will tell. Obviously, they addressed that in free agency as well. True. But from the draft, on
paper, they're much better on defense. Hard to be worse, folks. I mean, it really is. Okay, so you feel good that their defense is going to be better just because of where the barometer was, and that's it. This isn't going to be like, oh yeah, I think they'll be, giving up 15 points a game and that's it. I have no idea, but I do think how much emphasis they put on their defense in free agency with the defensive front, especially with what we know they have with Josh Allen, Miles Jack, and even if you want to throw in a guy like Joe Schobert or something like that. And then the free agent moves they made with Griffin and Jenkins. I mean, they have to be better. Please tell us they're better with those kind of additions. I would say the answer to that is yes. I don't know what Cisco and Campbell and those guys are going to be able to do in year one. I don't know. But I do think free agency alone, the Jags defense got better. I really like the dynamic nature of their offense. I've been a fan of their offense anyway, even coming into it. I think they already had some pretty good pieces for a rookie quarterback to come in, especially a number one overall quarterback to come in, especially a quarterback with this kind of skill set and talent. And so from offensive line to DJ Chark to Laviska Shenault to James Robinson, I thought they were in pretty good shape. Well, then you go add a guy like Etienne. I do think it changes the dynamic of your offense a little bit. Disappointed they don't have more in the tight end room. I mean, I think they are too. I mean, bottom line is they have to figure that out. Or they're going to be void of it for another year and then have to figure it out in 2022. I just don't know where that lands that gets us excited. I think we're beyond that point. I don't think they're going to do anything. I mean, Ertz could be a possibility, maybe a trade for Hayden Hurst. I don't know. But anything you do now, I still think it's like, is it going to get you excited about the tight end position? Probably not. You hope a guy like Tyler Davis comes along a little bit. Still, it's so peculiar to me that Josh Oliver was traded away because if you look at their room right now, I just would feel better if I had at least something to hold on to that Josh Oliver is a good player that just got injured. I would feel better about that if I was a Jags fan and looking at that tight end room. But Trevor Lawrence is the kind of quarterback that we haven't seen around here. Makes the other players better. If he can make DJ Chark better, if he can make James Robinson and Etienne better, if he can make Laviska Shenault better and Marvin Jones better, and some of those guys, by the way, are already pretty good, well, that makes me feel good about their offense. And so I know Urban Meyer's an offensive guy. He's got a bunch of experience with Bevel and Schottenheimer guys that he brought in. I feel good about their offense being significantly better than it's been and maybe more consistent. I guess what it's the bottom line in this question is how much better did the Jags get? 1 or 2 wins better? 3 or 4 wins better? 5+ wins better? How do you feel about their team in terms of 1-15s going to turn into what? And after free agency, we said 6 wins maybe?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Anywhere between 5 and 7 is probably the number where it falls. 8 might be the ceiling of this football team. I'll be completely honest. I knew Trevor Lawrence was coming in free agency. I don't know if this draft changes that for me. I think their floor is about 5. I think their ceiling is about 8. It's probably right around 6 or 7 through some growing pains in year 1 for Trevor and Urban.
As I reflect back, about my thoughts about this draft and my thoughts about free agency, we get so caught up in draft grades and what the goals were. And I'll be honest, I'm at the head of that class as well. I mean, I do that all the time. I go, well, they didn't really draft right now. Where are the starters at? And everything like that. But to me, what we always fail to neglect is that the free agent market and the free agency, it's almost a companion to the NFL draft. Now, yes, you build a team for the future and you build a team, you build a base through the NFL draft. No ands, ifs, buts about it. And then every once in a while, you bring in a free agent where it's like, okay, now we can come and make some impact. Well, this team went 1-15 last year. So you're naive to think that you're going to fix this all through one draft. But then if we look at what they did in free agency, what did you do? You brought in Marvin Jones. That's a starter. Brought in Malcolm Brown, starting nose tackle. Brought in Roy Robertson-Harris, starting defensive end in a 3-4 defense. You brought in Jahad Ward, probably the other defensive end starting. We'll see, but obviously going to compete for depth if nonetheless. You brought in a guy, I mentioned Harris from Chicago. That's going to be a defensive end starting, pretty much hands down. So you bring in these guys, and they're starters. They're day one starters. Oh, by the way, maybe the most important piece is Chad Griffin out of Seattle. Once again, you're starting cornerback, probably taking on the one receiver. So you essentially brought in 6 or 7 guys that are going to be starters on this team. So then when we look at the draft and you want to use that as a companion to free agency, you see, okay, maybe you got another starter here, obviously with Trevor Lawrence. Maybe you got another starter here, in the secondary with Campbell. We'll see. But that's the whole point, is that you can't just have this as one, okay, the draft and then free agency. This all goes together. And as a team that went 1-15, you need immediate impact. And that's where free agency came in. And then with this draft, it shows me, okay, did you get immediate impact some places? Sure. Did you address the tight end? No. It's not perfect by any means. And obviously, I'm a little bewildered by that. But everything else, okay, I get Walker Little. I understand it, right? Because what'd you do? You re-signed Cam Robinson, franchise tag. So that's another one. So maybe 8 guys you have as starters coming back now due to free agency or franchise tagging somebody. That's how it's supposed to work. All right? So I get it. We'll grade the draft and we'll say they sure did this, they sure did that. That's fine. But put the draft with free agency and then come back and talk to me after the year.
Yeah, Urban Meyer, by the way, did it in the press conference yesterday, but did this on Thursday night with us live on our draft special on CBS 47 and Fox 30. Asked him a question, and it was like the final question, and he said, wait, I want to say something. He basically said, I want to tell you that the guys that we have here, there's a core, that are good. We have some good players, and they've been doing everything that I've asked of them so far, and they're bought in. He's basically selling the fact that, hey, we've got some good players here. Okay, this isn't void of any talent, and they're already bought in. So just to let you know. And so I think he feels strong about some of those guys as well. And some of those guys are obvious. I mean, you got the Linders, the interior of that line. You have Josh Allen and Miles Jack. That's not just pie in the sky, hang your hat on those guys. Those guys have proven it in the NFL. And every team would feel good about some of those guys. So that's legit for sure. What I say when I look at how much better did you get is the Jags were overmatched last year, quite frankly. They were 1-15. There were about a handful of games where they lost by 4 points or less. It's the NFL, and they didn't pull those games out. But if you look at this roster now, who are they overmatched by on their schedule? Tennessee and Indy are clearly the better teams in the AFC South. I don't know if they're overmatched. And what I would say by that is they got better against Derrick Henry with this defense.
Yes.
But they're not overmatched. Indy, they've always had success against. In fact, they beat them. It was their only win in the 1-15 campaign. They're not better than them. That's not the question. I'm talking about you don't feel like they even have a chance. There are teams like last year going to Green Bay, didn't think the Jags had a chance. Now, they actually played pretty well, but I didn't think they had a chance to beat them. Houston, I feel just the opposite. Houston might be the doormat of the league coming up next year. Buffalo. Now, Buffalo's a team with so much firepower. If they're clicking on all cylinders and playing well, I don't feel like the Jags are there yet. Is that fair?
Without a doubt.
I'm going to pick Buffalo 10 out of 10 times. Houston and the Tennessee and Indy, I feel a little different about. You can go steal a game from those guys. They're in your division. I don't feel that way about Buffalo right now. Not the way they're playing. I think they're way ahead of the Jags. So that would be one on their home schedule that I would say they're a little overmatched right now.
Sure, that's fair to say.
Miami, I don't feel that way. They're good. They're better. Everybody's better than the Jags. They started 1-15. But I don't feel like the Jags are over. Heck, Tua, we don't even know. Jags are better at quarterback, I feel like, right now than the Miami Dolphins.
Sure.
So that gives you a chance.
Sure.
Arizona. Arizona's interesting.
Yeah.
Arizona's going to be a tough one. Just on paper, it looks like they've got a lot of good stuff.
I like the draft.
They did. They got a lot of good stuff, right?
Yep.
I might pick Kyler Murray in the fantasy league next year. That's how much I like the draft.
Would. Well, hey, you picked Lamar Jackson last year, so might as well go ahead and have the guy that I had the year before.
I would say, well, I still think they could finish last in their division. I've said that. I think the Cardinals are scary.
I think
when you're a team that's building.
I think our first wager of the year was you have them
finishing last.
Well, no, it was 8 games.
Oh, 8 games. Okay.
8 games.
Yeah, I feel good about that.
Under 8
Still
games.
feel good about that.
Do you really?
Atlanta. Are the
Okay.
Jags overmatched against Atlanta? I can't imagine. Not yet. Atlanta's done a lot to improve, too.
Yeah. Yeah,
San
I don't see them
Francisco,
overmatched.
maybe, if healthy.
What's the quarterback situation?
I think you're going to have to plan on Jimmy G for now. I think that's the plan.
Okay.
Denver, not overmatched.
No.
The Jets, not overmatched.
Come on.
The Chargers, not overmatched.
No.
Good. The Chargers can be good. Again, I'm not telling you that they're better than them. I'm talking about I don't think they have a chance against them.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle is one of those teams. Like Russell Wilson's so far ahead. Like I feel like that's a tough one. And you're going to Seattle. Like I don't feel good about that game at all.
No, for sure. But their defense, has taken some major steps back. Major steps back.
And then the Patriots and the Bengals. And the Patriots are interesting because they're the Patriots. But really, if you look at their roster, you're not afraid of it.
Yeah.
Although they could, and that will be in New England. So that will be it's tough to win in New England.
Probably. Do you think that'll be early? They haven't announced the schedule, obviously. Probably later on with Mac Jones at the helm.
But anyway, there's 2 to 4 games where you're like, Brent, I would never pick the Jags to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what I'm getting at. For a 1-15 team. So if you can take those other 12 games, or really 13 now, you take those other 13 games and you give yourself a chance to win those games, or you split them, or whatever it might be, that's probably where the Jags should be. That's the whole point of the conversation. Somewhere but 6-7 wins, ceiling of 8 wins probably makes some sense. More Jags talk when we come back on ESPN 690.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mahente.
How many teams really need to change the starting quarterback position? That list is probably 4 or 5 teams.
They are.
Washington, Chicago. Let's throw Carolina in there, even though they have a starter. Patriots is 4. Who else?
Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Or streaming live on the ESPN app.
Smoked for hours, served in minutes. Now that sounds like good barbecue, and it is at Willie Jewell's in St. Augustine at Murabella Crossing. Open 7 days a week. It's old school barbecue. Trivia night on Monday. Kids eat free on Wednesdays. Check out the Willie Jewell's app and catering for all of your events. Visit williejewells.com and visit Willie Jewell's at Murabella Crossing in St. Augustine. Old school barbecue, smoked for hours, served in minutes at Willie Jewell's.
For the ones standing guard. For the eagle-eyed, for the knights in shining armor, and for all those who support them. We are Grainger, your experienced safety partner, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, committed to helping keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com/safety, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Oh boy, you have that look on your face. That grumbling Greg face. Boss asking you to do work? No, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask somebody to work at work. That's why we switched to Peak Push to Talk. Yeah, Push to Talk is back. Connect instantly to anybody, anywhere in the country. Boop. Get used to the boop. And working at work, too. It's kind of the thing we do.
Boop nationwide. Learn more at booptotalk.com.
Why can't I ever find my people? You can now when you boop. Did you say boop? And you'll beep your crew nationwide with Peak Push to Talk. Booping is back. And better than ever from Peak Push to Talk. A boop and you're instantly talking to your crew. No more texting. No more it was on silent. No more never returned calls. Nope, just boop. Boop.
Find your people with a boop at booptotalk.com.
Boop.
It's Good Morning at Moe's in St. Augustine only at 312 and US 1. It's the only Moe's in the country serving breakfast burritos. Full breakfast menu only at the St. Augustine location. Made to order food in the drive-thru. Hot, fresh breakfast on the go. Make it a better morning with Moe's Southwest Grill. Start your days with the home wrecker breakfast burrito. St. Augustine location only, served daily at 6 a.m. Moe's is ready to serve you breakfast. Make it a better morning with Moe's. Spring is sprung, the air is warm, flowers are blooming, and the cigars are smoking. Cigars are smoking? That's right. Springtime means Stogie Fest at Aromas. A limited number of tickets are still available for the annual Stogie Fest event. Stogie Fest 2021 is May 14th through the 16th at Aromas off Southside Boulevard. Stogie Fest is for the cigar aficionado to the most occasional smoker. Join Action Sports Jacks at Stogie Fest Friday, May 14th from 3 to 6 p.m. for your chance to win a pair of Stogie Fest VIP tickets. Stogie Fest 2021, May 14th through the 16th.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey folks, living in Florida, we don't really worry about the seasons except for one, hurricane season. And since your home is your most important asset, protecting your home with Rhino Shield against harsh Florida weather is good for your house and it's good for your budget. As the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to your house, those cracks in the walls will cost you thousands if not repaired. Rhino Shield waterproofs your home with a coating that's 13 times thicker than box store paint. It reflects 97% of harmful UV rays, has a Class A fire rating, is salt air corrosive resistant, contains the highest quality ceramics, and of course it comes in any color. Plus, with our 25-year warranty, you get a non-prorated 100% transferable warranty that guarantees against chipping, cracking, and peeling. So call 904-519-5055 or visit rhinoshieldjacks.com and protect your house and your budget.
So you'll never have to paint again. Call Rhino Shield today.
Hello, I'm a unicorn. Yes, one of those. Everyone's tried to find me, but most can't, unless they're ZipRecruiter. If you've hired before, you understand it's quite hard to find a unicorn. You know, someone who's perfect for your role. So how does ZipRecruiter do it so quickly? ZipRecruiter's technology matches your job up with the right people for your role and invites them to apply, so you get brilliant candidates fast.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/hire.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
The Knicks, they still struggle to score a little bit. If you're a big-time player who wants to put on big-time numbers in a big-time city, I can see that happening.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and watch exclusively on ESPN+.
The Max Kellerman Show. The Nets started out the season without James Harden, who's their second-best player, and then have played recently without Kevin Durant, who's their best player. Also, when Kyrie joined the team, he and Harden had to figure things out. There was an adjustment period. And so the Nets' record does not reflect, their entire record does not reflect the team they've become. The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Watch exclusively on ESPN+.
So Tyson, I've known Tyson sophomore year in high school, state champ in Florida. He was Surtain's teammate, wonderful family, played safety, very good tackler when you watch him blitz. So he's a versatile defensive back. So when you look at our corners and Tyson, you got these long 6-foot-plus guys that run 4.4. He's physical. The flexibility that he will provide. He didn't play a lot of inside for Georgia, but he was a safety in high school, and like I said, I've known him a long time. And I actually heard on television, and we agreed with the assessment on television with that. He's so confident in his speed, he's never out of control.
That is Urban Meyer on Tyson Campbell. Listen, they love this guy. One thing about Urban, I'm going to talk about this in a moment. He went with what he knew, right? I mean, these guys, 5-star guys that he'd recruited to Ohio State or had experience with them and knew them. Some people really like that part of a college coach coming in. Pete Carroll, it really worked for him. And so I think there's a happy medium. I like the idea of it. I really know this guy, what he's all about. I think he can fit. Mm-hmm. But can you get carried away with that is a little bit of a concern of mine. Like, do I have to know this guy to be able to pick this guy? Sure. And I feel like that was a little bit of a parachute for Urban in this first draft because he said that. He's like, I wish I could spend more time around him. Not whether it's free agents or these guys, Zoom calls just aren't enough. I want to be around them, and I haven't had the chance to be around these guys as much as I want to. So I think this was a little bit of a parachute, but also a beneficial parachute perhaps for Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit, but if you're going through your first NFL draft, and obviously the entire landscape is different because you couldn't go to the combine, the interview process was different, you're going to rely on the guys that you have good vibes about, that you have a good feeling about. Yeah. More than likely, especially in the first couple of rounds. Yeah. In any business, exactly. So this is a guy in Tyson Campbell that Urban Meyer knows very well. And that's why
you're here.
That's why I'm here. Who are you going to bring in?
Now, Coos,
We
I
don't
have
trust
no
him.
idea why he's
no,
here.
I had no idea. We're just kind of throwing with you, and hey, we
That's
made it
because
work.
no one else wanted me, so they
That's a good
pawned me
point.
off.
That's a good point.
Coos, you still married?
I am still married.
Congratulations.
There it is, man. Congrats.
You guys doing anything for your 1.5 week anniversary or whatever it is?
You should. Put it
I
on
guess
Facebook at
technically
least.
I'm making like corn on the cob tonight for dinner.
Big.
That's good.
Big moves, big wedding moves. I like
Husband
that.
things.
Husband things. On the grill, or how are we doing this?
Probably not. I'll probably just boil it. I don't
Put it
really...
in the fryer.
Boiled corn.
Doesn't everything go in the air
Can you put it
fryer?
in the air fryer?
Well, no, I got to use the air fryer for the chicken.
Yeah, for what?
I'm going to put the chicken in the air fryer.
Grilled or fried? Oh, I guess you're gonna fry it, huh?
The fryer,
air fryer.
Do you think Trevor puts everything in the toaster since it was $300?
I hope so. I hope so. I'd be putting a T-bone in there for $300.
I saw.
I can tell you right now.
I saw a video the other day where someone put the toaster on its side and made grilled cheese that way, and I was like, I don't think a $300 toaster should do that.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was like a whole like life hack thing.
What a flex! What a flex! Man, I can't wait to get to that point.
I interrupted
in my career.
Urban
Oh no, you're
conversation.
good.
Sorry.
I mean, I think we established who's getting married. Urban trusting the guys that he drafted. Same thing.
Yeah, and
we're on the same boat.
I have no problem with that, by the way. Urban made this draft, though, right? I mean, you said something interesting earlier. That felt like a bulky pick with the Walker Little.
Yeah.
And the value.
Yeah.
And I understand that they both had a big say in this and the scouting staff, but it did feel like Urban's draft. We kind of wondered, would it feel like Urban's draft or Trent Baalke's draft? Well, I think it felt more like Urban's draft.
Mm-hmm.
Do you?
I mean, total, yes, absolutely. Now I can sit here and pick like, oh, that felt like more of an Urban pick. That felt like a Baalke pick. But no, I mean, if you take Travis Etienne in the first round, that's an Urban Meyer draft. Enough said.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I mean, even go to Luke Farrell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a guy that's from his hometown.
Correct.
You know, Ohio State kid.
Who's not 29 years old, by the way.
No, he's not.
No. That whole thing. Did I almost tweet something out before I did some research? Yes, I did. But thankfully I did some research about it.
I was missing something. Was that all piggybacked off Stewart? Did Weber put that out initially? Or did everybody kind of put that out?
If you Google him, there's also a baseball player by the same name.
Yeah, that's
so,
29.
I mean, maybe, wait, did Weber make a mistake? We
No,
put
I
him on
don't know.
blast?
I didn't know if it was Stewart or not. I just saw him in the converse. I missed the origin of it all. That's what I'm getting at. Like,
See,
I didn't know where it all started.
The origin to me was Google. When I Googled this guy and I saw his age, I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, do I make a comeback?
There's more than one.
33. Yeah, exactly.
Here's some interesting comps right here, okay? By the way, I think this was more of an Urban draft, to answer the question. Urban or Baalke. And again, I think Baalke was significantly involved. I'm not saying he was just there for the ride. I don't want to disrespect him like that. I just feel like this did. You hit it. You have Etienne, right? You have guys that were 5-star guys that you recruited to Ohio State. That at Urban. I mean, and listen,
correct.
Urban's building the culture. That's what he's trying to find his guys, like the guys that he thinks can help turn this around, not only just talent level, but also what kind of makeup they have. And I think he did that. Matt Jones, and not the former Jags receiver, says player comps. Now, if this could all come true, Matt, then we're in for a heck of a ride. Trevor Payton, Travis Marshall Falk, Tyson Steph Gilmore, Walker Little Baselli, Cisco Ed Reed, sorry. Tufeli Alualu.
Okay.
Is that just like name recognition? More than anything, probably.
Of all the people, okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of three techniques out there you could have said, but
Adam Palomalo, even though he doesn't play D-line. Jordan Smith, Chandler Jones.
Okay.
Farrell Witten, Camp, DK Metcalf. Well,
who's this from?
Matt Jones. I hope you're right, man.
Who's this from? Just a guy?
Yeah, Matt Jones on Twitter
or
on YouTube or.
Well, I thought it was like Matt Jones. I thought you meant like Matt Jones, the NFL NFL expert. No. Okay, these are nice.
That would be one heck of a. If that would happen.
I mean, yeah, Chandler Jones. That would be nice to have. I'd settle for a Jason Pierre-Paul or somebody.
What's interesting is the closest one of those comps. You could make the comp of Trevor, maybe in Peyton someday, but I mean, it's such a long reach. But the Marshall Falk one's interesting. A lot of people have said Alvin Kamara. If you said Alvin Kamara, you might try to compare him to Marshall Falk, right?
Yeah.
So that's an interesting one with ETN.
It is. ETN, I get the Alvin Kamara comparison, but the only difference to me is that ETN can also lower his shoulder. And, he's a slasher, but he's also a physical guy, too, can run you over.
Yeah. I'm
really
excited to see
back.
ETN play. More Jags talk, more NFL draft talk. Who won, who lost? It's next on ESPN 690.
Hey, boss. Hey. Oh, yeah, so I've been meaning to ask you, how's your mom like a new smartphone?
She loves it. Got like 5,000 pictures of her cat already.
And how's the Safe Touch security app working?
Now, that thing's amazing. Anytime she goes somewhere, she can just open up the app and check on her house.
That's why they say, with Safe Touch, you're never home alone and you're never away from home.
Yeah, the other day she was at the nail salon when she opened up the Safe Touch app and caught Mr. Tinkles living up to his name.
Well, never away from home. I miss the good old days of casing a house so you know when the owners are away.
Yeah, well, with Safe Touch, those days are gone.
Good for your mom, bad for us crooks.
Just another reason to stick to the Crooks and Russ Golden Rule. Stay away from Safe Touch houses. Simple as a flip phone.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Where else can you get luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials? Only one place, at Culhane's Irish Pub at Atlantic Beach and on the south side. It's as Irish as you can get, owned by 4 Irish sisters. Yeah, they've got fish and chips, of course, shepherd's pie. Go today for lunch or dinner. Eat in, order out. Culhane'sIrishPub.com for the full menu. And try the new Five Sisters Vodka at happy hour. Luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials, and so much more. 2 locations, Atlantic Beach and the south side. Culhane's Irish Pub, Irish Sass with 5-star class.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Purchasing home and auto insurance? Do it the Simply way with Simply IOA. Compare quotes and buy a policy online or over the phone. Search Simply IOA or call 844-TALK-TO-SIMPLY. Simply IOA. Insurance the Simply way.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Changing your oil. We've got what you need. Regular changes are the best way to keep your engine running smooth. We'll help you find the right oil for your make and model and everything to help you finish the job right, like drain pans, filters, and funnels. And we've got more ways to get it all fast, like our next day delivery and our free same-day pickup, in-store or curbside. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half? That feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Opening day at the ballpark? It's always been something to celebrate. But this year, after everything, this opening day may be the best one ever. That's why Jacksonville's Hometown Credit Union, One-to-One Financial, and Jacksonville's home team, the Jumbo Shrimp, invite everyone to join us May 4th for opening day. Welcome back, baseball. Welcome back, Jacksonville. Welcome back to opening day, May 4th, from One-to-One Financial, a bright path forward.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. It's unlikely the slumping Lakers will have LeBron James tonight. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne reporting he's not expected to play so he can rest his right ankle. He tweaked the ankle last night. After that game, he criticized the play-in tournament, said whoever came up with the idea needs to be fired. LA is 6th in the West, teams 7 through 10 in the play-in tournament to determine the conference's final 2 playoff seeds. Instead of being upset about the play-in, James's anger should be directed elsewhere, advises First Take's Stephen A. Smith.
The Lakers should not be this bad without LeBron James. Yeah, you don't have to be what you were with him, but you could at least be a 500 team. The fact that you've fallen off to this degree should say something, particularly when you've played with LeBron enough. You've been with him enough to know what you're supposed to be doing, even when he's not on the floor.
LA went 8-12 in the 20 games LeBron missed with that high ankle sprain. Woj and ESPN's David McMenamin are reporting, meantime, the Lakers prepared to be without guard Dennis Schroeder 10 to 14 days because of COVID protocols.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, and an app that lets you bank anytime, anywhere, choosing Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
I think it speaks volume for what Coach Collins is doing down here in Atlanta. I think, in the next couple of years, we'll be, somebody, a school that, that will be on ESPN daily, be talked about like the Clemsons and the Alabamas. I think he's doing everything the right way, coaching us to be, be men, be professionals. And then the recruiting side of things, I think, I haven't seen anybody, a better recruiter than Coach Collins, just the talent that he's bringing into Atlanta. And I think, as we continue to do that, we'll become more and more of a powerhouse.
Okay, so he's talking about Georgia Tech. Was that camp?
Yes.
They asked him about Georgia Tech?
Yes.
Okay. It's interesting. Any receiver picked out of Georgia Tech is going to get Calvin Johnson. Could he be that guy type of stuff, right? Well, Calvin Johnson checked a few more boxes, okay? So let's not get carried away.
I don't know. He was, 6'6", ran like a 4'3". I mean...
But this guy's athletically freaky, too, now.
Sure.
I mean, they certainly got a freaky kind of athlete in camp.
I saw the highlights of him doing the vertical jump.
Yeah.
The slow motion.
Pretty good. And that's exciting. I think those guys do excite you because now what we've seen out of a DK Metcalf, Metcalf, there was forever the longest time, what was his name from Cincinnati, the linebacker? Oh, the bench press, the workout, the combine, Mulaga.
Oh, yeah, Ryan Mulaga? Yeah.
It's not Ryan, I don't think it was. But he was
Ray
he was
Mulaga.
a poster child for like workout warrior, unbelievable tester.
Sure.
Didn't do anything.
I mean,
in the NFL.
He had a long career, man.
Nah, that's not the guy I'm thinking of.
Okay. I feel like Ray Magalua played a while in the NFL.
I'll find it out. But the bottom line is that had a negative connotation. Is he this guy that tests well but can't? He's not what you think he's not some superhuman athlete. Okay, that's going to kill the NFL.
Okay.
Well, Metcalf kind of comes in with that. Like, this guy is superhuman, and he's got, like, no % body fat, which isn't even healthy, but he still has it.
Yeah. Like, like you're so dehydrated, sir. You're going to tear something in a heartbeat, it look like. Yeah.
Well, and look what he's done. Right? He's wowed the NFL so far.
Absolutely crushed it.
And so now I think it almost flips that narrative a little bit to say, okay, go find me a freaky athlete, especially at the wide receiver position, and he might be DK Metcalf. And so we just had, like, obviously someone on the message say, comparison DK Metcalf to Camp, because Camp has some freaky athletic, tendencies. And so I think it's an interesting way the whole narrative has changed, but Metcalf has kind of set like this new wave in motion, especially for the wideout position, where it excites you, excites fans. I would imagine it excites people in the building. Scouts and coaches say, hey, give me a chance to work with that guy right there,
See, it also makes you wonder, though, going forward now, and if you look at, just how tight ends are treated in the NFL, and I get it, there's only like, 4 or 5 like, outliers of like legit ones, but it makes you wonder if you get these big body, and when I say big body, I mean taller wide receivers in college, if they try to add a little weight to themselves to be like the next Kyle Pitts, if you're a freak athlete, why not add a little weight? Because, I mean, let's be honest, like if you're 6'4" or 6'3", you're a wide receiver and you run a 4.4, 4.5, like that's athletic, man. Like that's freakish, right? But how many of those guys are there per year, right? Now, how many guys are there from the tight end position that can run a 4.4 or a 4.5 that are, 6'4", 240, 250? Not too many. So I wonder eventually if we start talking about guys adding bulk on, adding weight on, choosing to play, quote unquote, I say the tight end position, even though they're, once again, a glorified receiver. I wonder if guys start trying to add weight on because we saw the hype for Kyle Pitts this year.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the comments out of Urban Meyer this weekend talking about Colin Johnson in tight end. Could you potentially move him? And he said they've considered it and thought about it, but he doesn't think that he's going to be able to do that, the body type.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when do you do that? How do you utilize that? Is it the right move? Remember now, everybody's very reluctant to change positions. That's a risky maneuver, especially at a professional level. I think it's a risky maneuver at a lot of levels. Some guys are just super talented, but it's a lot harder at this level. And ironically, talking about a guy like Tebow as well, who might go from QB to tight end and give it a shot. But it's very difficult to do. And so, but I think you're not wrong there. I think if you can make yourself a valuable commodity and have the body type that can do it, like Pitts, like Waller, and Johnson was an interesting study probably for them to see if we could maybe do something like that with him. If it can work, though, you make yourself a very rare and valuable commodity right now in the NFL because look what happened with Kyle Pitts. I mean, I still think he's probably the most overdrafted guy in the draft. That doesn't mean he's not going to be good, and he probably changes their offense. But 4th overall for a tight end is very high, and they have to get a lot of production out of him to live up to that pick. But that being said, they now have what you could make the case is 1 out of 2 players in the NFL that do what he does. I mean, it basically feels like it's Waller and Pitts. Now, there are other ones probably trying to do it, but Kelsey's a different guy, right? Kittle's a different guy. Waller and Pitts now have these 2 skill sets and body types that are just unique. So the more players that will be able to maybe transition to that certainly increase their value. It can't be easy, though, because I think we've already would have seen more people try to do it. Because Colin Johnson's a great example. Like, in my mind, it would make sense. Like that, he's got the height. He's okay, maybe put on a little bit more weight. And Urban kind of dismissed the ability to do that with his body type. For one reason or another, I think he mentioned just you got to be a little bit more broad or thick or whatever it might be.
And it's also a different mindset as well. I mean, if we're talking about a true tight end here and you have to have the ability to block, it's different to block, obviously, on the line of scrimmage as opposed to being off the ball and blocking a cornerback one-on-one. Once you get in those trenches, man, it's just a different mindset, and not everybody at the wide receiver position is wired like that.
How much concern do you think internally is at the tight end position? Are they going to?
Apparently not that much.
Well,
because we're sitting here right now with Tim Tebow, TE number 1, hopefully.
And why would that be then? Is that just they didn't want to panic to take one? They didn't want to panic to overspend in free agency? They feel like they can do some things offensively that work around not having the tight end as a weapon spot on their offense until they get one without forcing it? There's panic in the fan base, it seems like, about tight end. We've been talking about it nonstop, man.
Yeah.
Nonstop. And obviously the Pitts stuff only exacerbated it because it was a special talent coming out. But I don't sense there's a bunch of panic internally. That doesn't mean there isn't.
I mean, there has to be a little bit of panic, obviously. But when we talk about, and once again, assuming that Urban Meyer echoes what he did at the college level, I think he feels that his offense, regardless of what it is, regardless who the tight end is, he can make it work. That's where I feel Urban Meyer is right now. Because what I think we're going to see is a lot of spread, obviously, a lot of misdirection, a lot of attacking maybe the center of the field or just, attacking zones in that field. And when you do that, you don't need a Travis Kelce. You don't need a Darren Waller to be, successful at the tight end position. And that's where I think Urban Meyer is feeling. He's like, I get it. We have a bunch of guys right now that no one's really believing in, and as probably people should. But I just feel like, and it's not an ego thing. I just think it's the belief in his system where he can throw whoever he wants at the tight end spot and have success with it. Now, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Schmed827, thanks on Twitter, by the way. Mike Mamula is the name we were looking for.
Mike Mamula?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's the one that tested so well back in the day. I believe he ended up with the Bengals, if I'm not mistaken. And so he became that narrative of the guy that tests real well but doesn't perform
Dang.
well. And so
38-inch vertical,
yeah, he was
26
before your
reps.
time. What year was that? Would have been like early 90s?
Does
it say?
Yeah, 1 second, please. Mike Mamula. I mean,
Boston
hang
College
on,
kid,
dude.
right? Pretty sure.
Yeah, he came out in 95.
95,
So-
okay. So how old were you?
Not in the NFL, sir. not even in college yet. I would have been. Heck, I was born in 87, so
Yeah.
do the math
You've
because
been
I can't.
You're in elementary school at the
I was
time.
8 years
so-
old, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that was the guy.
By the way, a 49 on the Wonderlic score.
A what?
49 on the Wonderlic
I think
score.
it might have been graded different at the time.
Okay.
Maybe? No?
Okay, man. I don't know.
What's the high score now? Is it 50?
I think it's 50.
Oh, so maybe it was. Okay.
A defensive?
I thought it went up to 40. It's 50. You're right.
He's a D lineman?
Linebacker.
Linebacker?
Pretty sure he's a linebacker.
49 on the Wonderlic?
Smart guy. Boston College guy.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it's some smart people go to
I
Boston
know,
College.
but you can't have that accent and have a 49 on the Wonderlic score. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Well, that's why I got rid of it. So if I take the Wonderlic now, then I could.
What would you rather? Hey, be honest. What would you rather have, a 49 on the Wonderlic and a Boston accent, or a 20 on the Wonderlic and no Boston accent?
Yeah,
probably a latter.
49.
Oh yeah, you taking the 49? Wicked awesome. All right,
on.
wicked awesome.
Wicked cool. So it is Michael Mula, but it is wild to see the change. I mean, that's some 20-something years later, but Metcalf is that guy. I mean, he's that test freak that really changed, but now changes in the narrative because he is playing well.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking in conversation with Jalen Camp a bit earlier. So I don't sense there is panic in the building for the Jags not finding the tight end or really improving their tight end room leaps and bounds is the way I'd say it. They got a tight end. They've brought Manhurts in. They have O'Shaughnessy, and if O'Shaughnessy's listening to all of us talk, he's like, what the hell?
What about me,
like,
guys?
What about me?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can play. And
Yeah.
and O'Shaughnessy has proven that he can play a little bit. I would just say, and I think O'Shaughnessy's a good player. I just think it's not a dynamic player. Like, he doesn't change their offense. He's kind of a tight end that can get it done, but he's not going to go to the Pro Bowl as a tight end. I mean, and if he does, that would be something that we have never seen coming.
Yeah.
All right. But he has been good in a Jags uniform when healthy.
Yeah.
So you give him credit. They've got bodies. And again, I think Tyler Davis might be the X factor now a little bit. Can they get something more out of him? They can block now at tight end. I can tell you that. They got guys that can block.
Is Tyler Davis the Brent Martineau X factor of the year?
Not
Because that's
really.
what it sounds
well,
like.
right now it is.
Okay.
Right now, whose stock do you want to buy in the tight end room?
Oh, no. A tight end, yeah. Probably him.
Which player is the cryptocurrency?
Tim Tebow.
I mean, is it
Tim.
Tebow or Tyler Davis?
Tim Tebow, man.
Like,
it's Tim Tebow. Tebow, man.
I don't think there's. I don't know if there's a home run potential get rich quick guy in that room, and I think that's why there's still a conversation in Jacksonville. Does Ertz change it if they were to somehow trade for him and find a way? I mean,
it feels like it would it not?
You'd feel better. I just don't know if I'd feel like, wow, that's unbelievable. But I would feel a lot better relative to what they've got, if I'm being honest.
And like, you don't share. I mean, like, everyone agrees with you here. Like, no one's really on the Zach Ertz hype train. And the question is, why?
Well, how old is Ertz?
Ertz is 30 years old.
I think it feels like with a guy like Ertz, I feel like we've seen his best football.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be entering
and so the Ertz stuff that
his ninth NFL season.
You know,
so,
you think of Zach Ertz, you think about how dynamic he was and how much he helped that Eagles offense, but is that guy coming here? Probably not. It doesn't feel also like Eifert. Like, Eifert felt like he was longer in the tooth and the injuries, and so he does feel more dynamic than Eifert, but I'm not sure there's a huge difference between the two either.
Oh, Brent, don't do that.
That's what. Well, you're asking me why. I think that's why. I think
but
people, when you're getting a guy on the descending part of his career,
you're saying descending. But we talk about 2020 and the whole version of Carson Wentz. That was a bad version of Carson Wentz. Would you agree? That whole offense was a hot pile. Correct?
Yeah.
Well, in 2019, keep in mind this is 2 seasons ago. Ertz had 916 yards receiving, and he was a Pro Bowler. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars would take that. I think they'd take a 700 receiving yard tight end right now. Well, Ertz can do
probably
that.
Second all time in franchise history.
Well, you want to hear something crazy, Brent? His first season and his last year, every other season has had over 700 yards receiving every single year.
Yeah. Well, again, you're talking about his resume.
I'll say it again. I'll say it one more time, Brent. From 2013 to 2020, only had 2 seasons where it wasn't over 700 yards receiving. His first season, he was a rookie, obviously, only started 3 games, and last year, the whole Carson Wentz thing, and he got hurt a little bit. There you go.
I think he's the only guy that says that people would get a little bit like, okay, I feel better. I don't think, I'm not sure there's any other move you're going to make that's realistic move that people would be like, okay, I feel better about the tight end room. It'll be another piece, but I think the Ertz move is something that if they could make it, if they could pull it off, if they can make it happen, I think people would feel good about that tight end room for the first time in a while to go along with some of these other guys.
And that's the point. Like, and listen, everyone I feel like agrees with you. I'm not sure what kind of cool you're handing out, but everyone seems to be on your level where it's like, Zach Ertz, is it really? Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have the luxury to say what tight ends have been good in Jaguars history and what aren't? Like, and what makes a good tight end? Because who have the Jaguars had the past decade that sticks out to you at tight end besides Mercedes Lewis?
Yeah, that's it.
So there you go then. So I would take what I can get. And if you can get Zach Ertz and you can get the numbers that he's put up the past 8 or 9 years, I would take those in a heartbeat. And I would sacrifice whatever I had to get him.
Yeah. See, that's the part. The Jags are unwilling to do that, or the trade would have already been made, in my opinion.
Okay, if we're talking a 3rd-round pick, yes. I'll say it right now. I would give up a 3rd-round pick to get Zach Ertz.
Why don't we just trade Josh Oliver then for him? Around here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I guess, sure. Like, I'm not gonna.
Oh, hey, Brett. Hey, I want you to be truthful,
with it.
man.
I want to be on the.
It's just Zach
Ertz train.
No, I think the train left the station. I don't think you're on board. I think we left without you.
I do think he's the guy to get to improve it. I just either wonder right now what's taking so long, or is this something that won't transpire if it does until they see what's out on the field over the next couple of months, or maybe even in August, and then you make a move closer to the season. I mean, that's a guy that can probably just come plug and play anywhere. But, I mean, if you were really that interested in him, if the Jags were really that interested, why haven't they made a move for him in free agency or until now?
Because I'm not in the front office.
Yeah.
That's why.
We'll see. But I do think that's the only way. I don't, again, just to kind of recap this conversation, I don't think the Jags are panicking about it as much as maybe everybody else on the outside is talking about it. It feels less dynamic, but I think there's ways to work around less dynamic tight end rooms. And a lot of that will depend on Trevor Lawrence. A lot of that will depend on what kind of scheme and system and all those things that they run, what kind of plays they call, how they use Travis Etienne. Yeah. All those things.
I know, man.
Somebody asked what about Jalen Camp moving over to tight end? It's like, well, they've already said he's a developmental guy. So even if Jalen Camp does eventually find his way to tight end, if that's what ended up happening, then it's not like this year. That's not like a now thing. Okay, so that's not helping your room right now. That's about as got much chance of helping your room now as Tebow does coming into it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The Tebow thing will excite some people. Will be intrigue all over. But I mean, you're not sitting here and relying on anything out of that, are you?
I'm just no, for sure. But I'm just saying, Brent, if you're trying to give Trevor Lawrence every possible I guess, bullet that he has in the chamber to say, hey, you know what, we're going to give you confidence. Here you go. If it costs me ideally, if you got a 4th-round pick for Zach Ertz, yes, please. Maybe a 3rd-round pick, so be it. But if I got to sacrifice a 3rd-round pick or maybe a 4th-round pick to make sure that Trevor Lawrence is more confident in terms when it comes to throwing in the middle of the field to a tight end, then I would spend that every single day. I wouldn't even bet an eye at it. That's where I would be at. Just how about Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, I will say this. So ETN and how they use him might help the void at tight end.
Sure.
But it still is the most exciting thing coming out of this draft. I mean, given the fact that we knew Trevor Lawrence was coming in, how they use ETN to me is the most exciting thing going on in this draft class.
Yep.
Because I'm interested to see it. And I think Urban said it crystal clear. You just have to absorb it and believe it. Yeah. And they didn't draft him as just a running back. Yeah. They've said it. I mean, it's crystal clear. It's out there. This is not like top secret information. They drafted him to move him all around the place, and that is the Kadarius Toney position, right? That is the Percy Harvin position. That is, and I said this to you leading up to the draft, trust Urban on that guy because he's been very good with that kind of player in his career, and that's what gets me more excited coming out of this weekend maybe than anything.
I'm just saying, you know, and we talked about Pat Frymuth a lot. We've shocked your mock with Pat Frymuth how many times? And Brent, I've never talked to the guy. I've only seen film on the guy. But going off his social media, all the dude is about is football. And if Pat Frymuth comes out next year for the Pittsburgh Steelers in that high-powered offense and has a Pro Bowl type year, I'm going to freak out. Just let you know right now, I'm going to freak out.
The wild thing about the Pittsburgh draft is it kind of delivered on the thing that people like. 24, Najee Harris. Oh, you get excited about that guy.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. Pat Fryermuth. Okay, we couldn't get Kyle Pitts, but we got the next best guy because everybody said he's the next best guy.
Sure.
Pittsburgh it was almost like Pittsburgh took the fans'
it's almost
feelings.
It's almost like the Pittsburgh version of Shock Your Mock was a real thing.
Yeah.
They're listening.
I mean, Najee Harris, obviously, you can see fit in that Pittsburgh kind of culture and organization. And then they got a Penn State guy, right, going over to Pittsburgh.
It's too perfect.
So it's just a wild thing how, like, and meanwhile here we're like, okay, ETN, we didn't see that coming. Tyson Campbell, do you need another cornerback? Like Walker Little, the guy's not even going to play this year. It was very interesting to see those two dynamics to me. Because we've been in the other dynamic before. You get excited about a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and at times they haven't really worked out very well.
You're not lying.
So I'm interested to see how this plays out the way Urban Meyer and Trent Baalke did it. What about the rest of the AFC South? How much better did they get? And wow, you know what a name that I haven't heard of in a long time? Deshaun Watson. We thought this guy was going to be kind of the domino of dominoes in the draft season.
Yeah.
Instead, silence. Don't even hear his name whispered. And they took a quarterback instead. What does that say about Houston and the Watson situation? The AFC South, we visit it next on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
We have a hot day on tap for you today, partly to mostly sunny. This afternoon, we'll top out into the low 90s, then drop down tonight into the upper 60s under partly cloudy skies. Still keeping this near-record warmth on Tuesday, rising into the low 90s again under partly sunny skies. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Alyssa Pedjig.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where now through Mother's Day, you can save thousands on that one-of-a-kind gift for Mom.
She's always been there for you with hugs, smiles, and an encouraging word. This year, show Mom how much she means to you with a gift from Beards Diamonds.
Now through Mother's Day, save thousands on specially priced Diamond Mother's Day gifts.
Like 1.5-carat diamond-studded earrings, originally $49.99, now sale priced at $32.49.
You save over $1,700.
Or a half-carat diamond solitaire pendant, was $16.55, now sale priced at $1,075.
You'll save over $600.
Give your mom a 6-carat diamond tennis bracelet, not $10,080, but just $65.52.
You'll save $3,500, but only until Mother's Day.
See hundreds of other Mother's Day gift ideas at BeardsDiamonds.com.
She devoted her life to giving you a great childhood. Now's your chance to show her how much you appreciate it.
Give her the very best from Beards Diamonds and save thousands on specially priced Mother's Day gifts now through May 9th.
Get the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed at Beards Diamonds.
In the St. John's Town Center or at BeardsDiamonds.com.
I'm a call it like I see it guy. Sometimes that twists the competition's panties in a bunch. Sometimes it causes pearl clutching. But it always lets you listeners know the truth. Last January, I told you winter was slow and you could get a deal on upgraded systems because it's true. And here's the truth about summer. Most AC breakdowns happen from stress testing during that first string of scorching hot days in summer, causing every reputable AC company to be booked out at least 2 or more days. Any company not booked solid in summer isn't a company you want in your home. But who wants to sweat it out 2, 3, or more nights waiting for a new AC? At Griffin Service, we've solved the logistics to fix that problem, because we fix what others can't. We call it our Sign Today, Sleep Cool Tonight program. So if you forgot the tune-up in spring and things go to turd buckets in summer, don't sweat it out waiting. Call Griffin for our Sign Today, Sleep Cool Tonight guarantee, exclusively at
GriffinService.com.
CMC 1250-697.
ESPN 690 is home for the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show hosted by Captain Rick Riles. Tune in every Saturday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. to find out what's biting now. Fishing so fresh, you can almost smell it.
The Jacksonville Auto Show is back. Celebrate one of the First Coast's premier events, May 7th through 9th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Check out the hottest 2021 models, ride and drives, classics and exotics, and even historic military vehicles. Everything sanitized in a safe and clean environment. The Auto Show, Mother's Day weekend, May 7th through 9th. Free parking from ViStar Credit Union. Discount coupons at gate gas stations. Tickets available only online at jacksautoshow.com.
You've been wanting a new ride, right? But you can't find what you're looking for? Well, check out my friends over at Arlington Toyota. They have over 400 pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs to choose from. Worried about your credit? Well, don't be, because with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everyone approved. And when it comes to total peace of mind, Arlington's got you covered with their 30-day exchange policy. Shop in person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
There is a taste of the islands in every drop of Vita de Luis tequila, imported directly from Tequila, Mexico to Jacksonville Beach. Vita de Luis is the only locally owned tequila in Jax Beach. Support local and try Vita de Luis. Award-winning, smooth, all natural, no aldehydes or additives, which means wake up feeling good the next morning. Find out where you can pick up a bottle of Vita de Luis, Blanco, Reposado, or Añejo. Just visit VitaDeLuis.com. Support local and taste the islands in every drop.
Hello, I'm attorney Robert Rubenstein, and this is Rubenstein's Rules for Personal Injury. Rule number 8, demand the best service. You're entitled to it. Rubenstein Law cares about you. Our team is dedicated to providing the best legal experience during this difficult period. Cases do take time to get you the result you deserve, but we work diligently on those cases. Keep in touch with you and return your phone calls as quickly as possible. Call Rubenstein Law at 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Offices in Jacksonville and throughout Florida.
I should have my kid tell you about Jumpin' Jack's House of Food. It's Ty's favorite burger in town. Make it one of your favorites as well. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food has 3 locations now: Atlantic Beach, Mandarin, and downtown Jacksonville. Change your life burgers. But they have salads, pizza, and much more on the menu, too. Let Jumpin' Jack's House of Food be your great neighbor. Lunch or dinner with the family, or they will cater parties from 200 to 500 people. Jumpin' Jack's, HOF.com for online ordering. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food, open 7 days a week.
I'm Alfreda Boney, founder and CEO of Perfectly Suited Career Consulting. I'm proud to be a Jax Chamber member and to serve on the advisory board of the Jacksonville Women's Business Center. The JWBC is innovating and adapting, embracing the digital transformation to serve more women in Northeast Florida. For example, we are launching the Network of Trust program that will mentor and vet female business owners, preparing them to take the next step as a company. For more information, visit jackschamberfoundation.org.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Welcome into the show, a name you know. If you've been listening and watching ESPN for a long time, I know you know him. We're going to call him one of the forefathers, if you will, of sports radio, Mike Greenberg.
Thank you. Forefathers is an interesting, that's fascinating. Every day, as I talk to more people, I get older and older. So that's kind of funny.
Listen weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. in your car or stream them. ESPN690.com.
Brent Martineau.
Never heard of what happened in Iowa yesterday, and I don't even know how to pronounce the name of it. Derecho.
Austin Lane.
Iowa State Cyclones. Should call them the Derechos. You can shorten it up, call them the Chos. Why not, man? I'm into it.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
It's definitely bittersweet. This past year we lost in there, but the other 2 years, have been good to me. So, you know, I enjoy playing in that stadium. I've always been packed, and it's always good to come home to the Sunshine State when I was in Athens, just to get that Florida feeling back. I know C.J. Henderson. He was at Columbus High School in Miami, Florida. We wouldn't play in high school football, but we would always compete in track and field. So I'm definitely familiar with him. I won, yeah.
That is Tyson Campbell, second-round draft pick of the Jacksonville Jaguars, corner out of Georgia. Got some more speed out there now.
Yeah.
The need for speed was real. And I do like this. I like over the years when people in the draft process, meaning the brass, GMs, coaches, will say something and tell you something and kind of be their mantra of the offseason, and then they deliver on it. And I appreciate that about any coaching staff. And I think that's, by the way, good. Like, if you're going to preach that stuff, you might as well deliver on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Urban Meyer did that here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said this about, like, Marone's staff last offseason. Or maybe it was 2 off seasons ago or whatever. I don't know. It was one of the years where they said, hey, we like our offensive line better than other people like their offensive line. And, you know, James Robinson, it was last year because James Robinson ran for over 1,000 yards. I mean, their offensive – now, the tackles had some troubles, okay? So they weren't, like, exactly right. But there's some things that their offensive line did. People wanted to get Andrew Norwell out of here. Andrew Norwell played well last year. So those are the things that I kind of look back and be like, okay, did they deliver on what they were preaching? Did they deliver on what they were saying? And Urban Meyer said since the minute he walked in the door, 2 constant themes, in my opinion. One was, we're going to do everything we can that's best for the player. And 2 is, we need more speed. and speed wins.
Yeah.
And if you look at what he is doing kind of behind the scenes of what's best for the player, I think that's starting to happen. There's an underbelly of that that's probably a little less public. And then if you look at speed, he attacked this draft and free agency with some speed and got it and delivered on it. So we'll see if it pays off. But I do appreciate that about the staffs and brasses saying, hey, we need this. We think we're this. We're doing this. And then go back and look at it a few months later, and did they do it? Well, in this case, Urban Meyer did it.
Yeah, I mean, how there isn't a meme out there of Urban Meyer's face, like, imposed on Maverick from Top Gun saying, I feel the need for speed, is beyond me. Because, yeah, I mean, that was one of the very first things that he said, and it's definitely one of the things that he's stuck true to. You know, I mean, obviously the ETN pick would say that, and some of these other picks would say that as well. So I'm not mad at it. And like you've said many times, you know, he's being candid about it, and he's telling you, you know, he's building the house, and he's telling you how he's doing it at the same time. And
yeah,
it's not a bad thing.
You know, it's fascinating if you look at speed. Speed kills in sports. It's you can't teach it. You know, there's all these cliches about it, but for a while there was some separation, it looked like, especially in the Southeast, but SEC versus maybe the Big Ten and other conferences, speed was a big part of it. Big part of it. In fact, there still is a big part of it. Like, is Michigan fast enough? Is Wisconsin fast enough? You have these clashes of style.
Careful.
Right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But
yeah,
Ohio
careful.
State really did a good job. They were ahead of it partly because of Urban. They went and got speed. Like, they were the one team in the Big Ten that had the athlete that it seemed like the SEC had. Now, they also had the big fella, and they could beat you up at the line of scrimmage, which was more of a trait of the Big Ten, if you will. But they had that speed, too. And if you watch them under Meyer especially, and over the last however many years, they elevated and became the team to beat in the Big Ten. If you look at the NFL a little bit, everybody's fast, everybody's big, but is there some separation in other teams? I'll give you 2 examples, I feel. One being Atlanta. The year that they went to the Super Bowl, albeit blew the big lead 28-3 to the Patriots, their speed was noticeable on both ends of the ball, but especially on the defense, I would say. They were flying around to the football. And then who do we associate speed with right now? The Kansas City Chiefs. And they can beat you, and they're so fast, and you can't catch up to them, and you can't stop them. They've got a bunch of different reasons why, but speed is a big component of that. So it makes a lot of sense, I think, over the years in the sport of football, if you can find the edge in that category, and you certainly can't be too much out of a disadvantage in that category. Like, a lot of the teams are probably about the same. In the NFL, and then there are a few, like I just mentioned, maybe a little notch above. You don't want to be the team a notch below. There's not a big way to make that up unless you've got a terrific quarterback.
Okay,
or physical, yeah.
Physicality.
Baltimore comes to mind, but even now they have the speed element, right? Because you think of Lamar.
Yeah, they have the speed element with Lamar Jackson, but everything else.
Hollywood.
Yeah, Marquise Brown, but I don't think he's that much of a game changer, with all due respect.
But your
to him,
better example might even. But I know Baltimore is a good example, but I think your better example is probably Tennessee.
Yeah, and they got A.J. Brown, who's fast, but no, I think it all comes down to identity, right? When we talk about identity, we define Baltimore as physical. We define the Tennessee Titans as physical. I think when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, we define them as physical. So, yeah, there are bits and pieces. Like, for instance, the Rams, when they're in the Super Bowl, speed, right? Speed and these bunch formations. So, to me, it's about finding that right balance. Yeah, you can be the fastest team in the NFL. But if you don't have the physicality to match that, it's very, very hard to get far, in my opinion. Now, I think sometimes the Chiefs are the outlier because they just have so much speed, right?
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce for his position is fast. Obviously, Mecole Hardman, I mean, you name it, they got it. But that's rare. I think that if you're trying to build something special, you're trying to go far, you need a combination of both. You need that home run hitter, and you need the home run ball for sure. But there's nothing wrong with sometimes hitting a single or a double to try to win a game. That's where physicality comes into play.
Yeah, and you can't lose that essence of football, obviously. And I think that's what Urban's done really well over his career, is probably match that, kind of have like this equilibrium of physicality and speed. Yeah. It's still a matchup game, and it's becoming more and more a matchup game as the college game kind of enters the NFL.
Yeah.
And speed kills, and speed's a tough matchup. So it'll be, as you're saying, that the identity of the Titans, I'm still not sure we know the true identity of what the Jags are going to be. And I wonder if speed does have an element kind of in there somewhere.
Yeah, to me, when we talk about identity of teams, it starts with your head coach. If I look at Urban Meyer and what he's come from in terms of college, that spread offense, it's going to be speed. I think this team will rule speed over physicality all day. Now, I think with Joe Cullen on defense, you're going to see a lot more physicality than maybe even speed. So if you match the offensive firepower that Urban Meyer had in college, and then you match the mindset with which I know Joe Cullen brings on the defensive side of the ball in his relentlessness, his tough physicality. Just watch the Tennessee Titans take on the Baltimore Ravens. He, had a lot to do with that. I think it could be a very, very nice mix. Fast on offense, still fast and, all that stuff, but also physical on defense.
All right, let's get to the line real quick. Steven's been hanging on the lines. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you had a good draft weekend, man.
Of course, I sat in front of the TV all weekend.
Sounds good to me.
Until my wife told me I had to mow the lawn, then I, took a break.
There you go.
Anyways, about the offensive scheme, from what I guess I might be digging too much into it, but alluding to what Urban said in a press conference when somebody brought up James Robinson when he was talking about ETN. He mentioned something interesting, something the Jags haven't done in a long time, and that was actually split back formation, mentioning, hey, we're going to try and get both of them out there at the same time. And from what I'm gathering with this tight end situation is maybe inside the building they're not letting it on because they've got nothing but blocking tight end. To me, that shows maybe we don't have as much faith in our left tackles as we like to say we do. And I'll bet money with you guys right now. Walker Little will start some games because let's face it, when has Cam played a full season?
All right, Steven, appreciate the call, man. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Did Cam play full season last year? Just did.
I thought he did. Was he out?
I don't think so.
No. I can look it up real quick.
So last year, Steven, is the answer.
Yeah, he played the full season last year.
So listen, he's had some injury stuff. But
he played in 14 games back in 2019, 2 games, 2018, 15 games, 2017.
Listen, I think more so than the public, more so than the fans, people still value blocking in the tight end room a lot. Like football people still value that a bunch, right?
Sure.
Outside of the Baltimore Ravens, we don't acknowledge a team that does it well outside of watching the Ravens play.
Yeah.
But it's just something inside football that's still very important. And so they got Manhurts and they got Farrell now, and they've got some guys that can do that. But there's also a dynamic nature of the tight end that no doubt the Jaguars are missing. So, Steven, to your point, I think that's fair. I mean, you could make the case that they're not sold on their tackles, and they're going to give them a little bit of help.
Yeah, in terms of tripping, that's fine. But tell me a spread offense that just specializes in a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
That's like oil and water getting mixed together. It doesn't work.
No, I mean, you're talking about probably red zone and 3rd and 1 kind of scenarios where it helps. And again, it's not bad to have it.
No,
Every team wants to have it. They just don't talk about it a lot.
No, exactly. But if you're asking me, and listen, I think it's going to be a balanced offense because, once again, this isn't just Urban Meyer's offense. I mean, there's coordinators or anything like that, too, so he's going to be bouncing ideas off of. But if we assume it's going to be a spread like he ran in college, well, yeah, it's good to chip and everything like that, but you have to do a lot more than just help out the tackle. All right, you have to be relied on to take the safeties out deep or something like that. So there is a lot more to it than that. So I hope you have a receiving threat or some guy that can at least carry the weight a little bit.
South Beach Gary probably talking about the Dolphins. What's happening, man?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. What I was curious about is the Jags, with all the firing of the scouting department, why was the timing now 2 days after the draft? Why did it happen now as opposed to when Urban first came on board?
Say the first part of that again. I missed the first part.
The firing of all the scouting departments that the Jags did today, why did it happen now 2 days after the draft as opposed when Urban first came on board?
Yeah, revamp of the scouting department. Or South Beach Gary, appreciate the call, because that's when it happens. That's when those guys get let go.
Yeah.
After the draft. That is not an uncommon thing in the NFL. It's been a little bit uncommon around here. A lot of the scouting staff has been here for a long, long time.
Sure.
We heard some rumblings, by the way, late last week. Had some texts, and then I even tried to follow up again and get a bunch of confirmation, because I think they are waiting, around this time for that stuff to get out. But once the draft is complete, you have to stick with I remember this most sincerely. I thought when Tom Coughlin came in, I thought there would be some massive changes, and there actually didn't turn out to be, I think, because Caldwell was still there. But I thought we might see some massive changes, but you still can't get it until the draft cycle is over. This is like the fiscal year for a business, right? This is when the new year starts for that group to then start looking ahead to 2022.
Keep in mind, even when we're talking about last year, halfway through the season, that scouting department had one goal, and that was to find the next batch of talent for the up-and-coming draft, right? So they're doing all their due diligence. They're doing all their research during last season to find this year's crop of draft picks. So if you're Urban Meyer and you fire them when you come in, well, you lose all those resources. You lose all that capital. And now you're talking about your own scouting guys with, 3 or 4 months before the NFL draft? Oh, by the way, there's no combine. By the way, you have to meet with people on Zoom. No, you keep those guys that were here the prior year because you need those guys.
Well, not only that,
you need
Austin,
the research.
You let them go somewhere, and they're maybe taking some of your plans and secrets or whatever, and somehow those get out. So, yes, you need them through the draft to be on the staff.
Yeah, it's just
but
the way it
Urban
is.
Meyer did say this. He's like, I look forward to the next cycle because I could meet the scouts. I haven't even met them. I don't know them very well because, well, they were out and about doing their job over the last few months while I was in. Again, fingerprints of Urban Meyer and even a little bit of Trent Baalke. There's some changeover in the staff. They've got a lot of good scouts in there, too. People have told me over the years. It's a lot like what Shad said when they fired Doug Marrone. He said, hey, we feel like we have some good coaches on the staff, and some of the coaches did stay.
Yeah.
I think there's always that element, but there's new blood in the building, and that's happening. And that's Urban Meyer's fingerprints probably all over it. But this is not uncommon, South Beach Gary. This is the timing that you will see that happen year in, year out with other teams as well. All right, I want to get to the AFC South. Indianapolis, Houston, and Tennessee. What did they do? How much better did they get? And the Houston thing, have they made a pick yet? How was the draft, Texans fans? We'll be back on ESPN 690.
The biggest names in sports coming to your mornings.
Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski.
Kevin, there were so many expectations about Baker Mayfield coming into this season, but what impressed you most about him?
One of the things I love about Baker is how he works. He's a gym rat. He grinds. He wants to be great, and he understands that there's no secret. You can't snap your fingers and it just happens.
The biggest names in sports every morning with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on ESPN Radio.
I love that sound. To me, it's a battle cry, because when you have a plumbing emergency, what you don't want is some chuck-in-a-truck plumber treating it as just another day on the job, scheduling you for whenever suits him.
Well, let me check on that. Hey, Bobby, when are we getting back from fishing tomorrow? Yeah, about tomorrow afternoon.
And then doing turd bucket work whenever he finally shows up, if he shows up. Well, flap that, Jack. If you've got a clogged drain, a burst pipe, or a broken water heater, you want same-day service from someone who will go to war on your problem. That's what Griffin Service does. We offer same-day service for plumbing emergencies, burst pipes, clogged drains, and water heaters. And we'll not only go to battle against your plumbing emergency, we're also waging war against mediocrity in home services. We won't just fix your problem, we'll fix it right. So for same-day service for your plumbing emergency, call
GriffinService.com.
1430-261.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My son knows he should never touch my gun.
He never talked to me about his gun.
I keep the gun where she can't find it.
He thinks I don't know where it is.
She doesn't
I know.
Someone you love could be hurt by a gun accident in your home. Keep your gun locked away when it's not being carried.
Take the time to talk with your kids.
Have the talk with your family about gun safety.
Talk to your family about firearm safety. Learn how at projectchildsafe.org/welcome.
Shred your goals this year with the new Metabolism Boost Banana Passion Fruit Smoothie from Smoothie King. At only 240 calories and 14 grams of protein per 20 ounces, this crave-controlling meal smoothie has non-GMO whole fruits, naturally derived caffeine, and absolutely no syrups. Or try strawberry pineapple or mango ginger. Start your healthier habit and order online at smoothieking.com. Now for pickup or delivery at any of the Jacksonville area locations. Smoothie King, rule the day.
No matter what you're driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of Fields Auto Group's dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group stores in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
I'm Glenn Levine, a board-certified civil trial lawyer. That means the Florida bars recognize me as an expert in the field of civil trial. As a trial lawyer, I'm trained to investigate every aspect of your case. If you've been involved in a legal dispute and are not sure of your options, call me, Glenn Levine, at the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Biedenball. Weather here is unique. It could be bright and sunny one minute and then a downpour the next. That's why mornings are when you need us the most. So you can plan your day, no matter if you're getting ready to go to work or working from your living room, getting the kids ready for school or ready for lunchtime. I'm on TV explaining how weather is going to affect your day and night ahead, so you're prepared for anything. I'll get you ready on Action News Jax this morning.
It's Small Business Month, and Dell Technologies and Windows are celebrating your unstoppable drive. Save up to 45% on powerful PCs with Windows 10 Pro to work from anywhere, plus top monitors and docks for the ultimate business setup, all with easy financing options through Dell Financial Services. Speak to a Dell Technologies advisor who can help you find the right business tech, server, storage, and cloud solutions at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL for Small Business Month savings.
Mike Greenberg, Greeny.
The biggest difference between the athletes of today and the athlete of Shaquille O'Neal's generation is Twitter. And with Twitter in particular, social media in general, but with Twitter in particular, the generation of athletes who grew up in that consider it to be important enough that they do not ignore it. They hear it, they live it, they respond to it, they internalize it. It matters to them.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN Plus. Max.
If he never golfs again, and you're telling the Tiger Woods story, how could it not end? For I know he's won since then. At the Masters.
The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Watch exclusively on ESPN Plus.
CJ's a very talented young man. He's just got to get healthy. And when he does, I think you saw last year what he can do. Coming in his rookie first game, made some very good plays both against the run and the pass. He's a talented young guy. Now when you look across the board, you got 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot plus. Across the board, that's what you're looking for. Height, length, and speed.
That is Trent Baalke, GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars. First draft in the books for the Jags, and Baalke and Urban Meyer. Brent Martin, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Monday. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good weekend. Getting hot out in Jacksonville. We kind of like that. Summer is here.
Careful with the we. It's something.
Some people like it.
Yeah. Brent is all about it for some reason. He has an outdoor fireplace, but you're all about the warm temperatures.
That's right.
Makes a lot of sense.
I was actually cold this weekend because I was used to Cancun's heat.
Was it super hot there?
Oh, yeah. Like 95 with like 60% humidity. So when we landed in Florida, I was like, oh my gosh, it's freezing here.
What about Trevor Lawrence saying it's not that hot here?
I love it.
Yeah, you think he was lying, though? You think he's telling the truth?
No, I didn't sense that he was like sitting there dripping down sweat. I mean, it wasn't that bad.
By the
Friday
way,
either.
You'll like this.
It's gotten a lot hotter Saturday, Sunday, and today than it was even. Well, we were sitting out in the sun.
Yeah, I mean, I was wearing a black shirt, sir. It was pretty hot.
I was talking with my uncle, and I've an aunt and some cousins that live out in Houston. They're Texans fans, and they've been a little bit upset, right? But my cousin also went to Clemson. So then we drafted 2 Clemson players right off the rip, and my uncle texted them and said, how's it going? They said, we've officially to join the Jaguars fan club.
Come on today. Come on the dark side.
No. I told him, I said, you should have said, no, if you haven't jumped on the bandwagon before the draft, it's too late.
Oh, no, man, because we're taking all comers here.
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
Jacksonville needs what? Are you regulating this whole thing?
No, I'm just saying.
You're in charge of who's going to be the Jaguars fans and who's not?
I'm just
saying. So upset about bandwagon fans. Jump on board,
you need
baby.
them, man. Yeah.
Everybody needs a bandwagon fan.
Now, the Kyler Murray bandwagon from last year, he has left the station, as we've known. So go ahead and draft them in your fantasy team if you want to, but you realize if you do that, there's going to be a hellstorm coming your way, just to let you know.
Probably won't play well. That's kind of the storm coming my way.
Oh, so Lamar Jackson.
But at least I'll win. If he doesn't play well, then at least I win the bet that we made.
So that's a good point.
This is a hedge.
A win. Yeah, a hedge. That's what you call it.
It's a hedge right here.
I like your style.
Speaking of hot, my sister and her kids, Sailor and Chase, are in town. They were down in the Disney area for like a cheerleading competition.
Oh,
and they came up and visited for a couple of
days.
days.
Did you go to that? Did you support them?
Okay. No, I was covering the draft.
Okay.
And then I did not know, but Mom surprised me too.
Mom came into town.
So she came into
Nice.
So she came into town. So we've had the family here the last couple of days. Now they are hot.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah,
I can tell you
toasty.
that.
So Mom just flew in and I didn't even tell you.
No, like it was actually a really cool surprise that I didn't. She had been down with my sister for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And I was in the house.
Yeah.
And I was talking, like my back was turned.
It's a power move.
And I was
right
talking
there.
to my sister.
Yeah.
And her kids were there, and as expected.
Yep.
And then I said something. It was like perfect flow of the conversation.
Yeah.
And down came the stairs, came my mom and said something. I was like, I totally unexpected.
That's a power move.
Never even thought.
That's a power move. If my mom pulled that on me, let me tell you, it'd be World War III. Not just to say I don't want to see my mom. I love my mom. But like, then my wife would be like, well, we got to do the dishes quick and we got to clean up the... And it's like, it's just stress.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stress if mom shows up
we don't
unexpected.
worry about that
Well,
stuff.
you think I care? That's my wife, man. Dishes for what? Like my mom cares about 10 dirty dishes in the it's fine.
We got a lot going on.
I'm like that. If I know company's coming over, regardless of what the house is, I was like, we need to vacuum, we need to move all the furniture,
no
we need to dust everything.
Not me.
You forget that I was in college with 2 other roommates in an
So
apartment,
was
and my mom would come over and hey.
I'm like, who cares? You came over, whatever. Lower your expectations.
No, I gotta clean. We gotta clean everything.
Yeah. Screw that. I don't have time for that.
Instead of a welcome mat, a lower your expectations mat when you walk in.
Whatever.
I mean, that's a money idea right there.
We'll have some fun. We'll feed you. You got a place to stay. I don't care what it looks like.
We got to trademark that.
Can we get a mat like that for the front of ESPN stuff?
Lower your expectations formats.
It is. It's on the other side of the building.
Oh, okay.
Lower your expectations formats. Oh, I love that.
Chase, I call him the exterminator, man. There'll be every snake and bug around my house will be gone.
Yeah.
Or either caught and in my house.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
He wants to go find the moccasin.
So stressful, man.
Everybody comes down here like, oh, what kind of bug is that?
Yeah.
What kind of snake is that?
Is
like,
is that an
give me that
armadillo?
thing.
They found like a new species of spider down in Miami. The Miami Zoo found it or something.
Deadly?
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. I saw that there's a new spider and went, oh, great.
I'll tell you,
Does it look cool?
We're walking down the neighborhood to go to the community pool yesterday. We're taking him over there.
Nice.
And so he loves the lizards. And so he sees the lizard, and he's like, he's 11. And he sees the lizard. He's like, oh, there's 2 of them.
Oh, no.
They're mating.
Oh,
hey, they're mating.
Hey, Ranger Rick, how old are you? You know about that stuff already? Dang.
He's like, might want to look at that.
Yeah, man. Let him have
That's
their
what he
privacy.
said, not what I said. That's what he said.
Get this kid his own YouTube channel, Brent, right now.
Yeah, he probably already has one.
I'm sure he does.
Quite frankly. A lot of fun. By the way, Hall of Famer Steph's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Hall of Famer Steph. Today?
Yeah, today.
Should I even ask you doing something nice for her? Probably not.
Yeah. No.
Awesome. I don't know why I even asked. I don't even know why I even asked.
Went to Buc-ee's.
Hey, Steph, get whatever you want. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Here's a thing of beaver nuggets.
Beaver nuggets.
You got some beaver nuggets.
Oh,
That's
man.
what we do, by the way. We take everybody from out of town and we show them Buc-ee's.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm like, this is going to change your life, people.
Change my life. Change my life for sure. I mean, I want to plan family weekends. Hey, we go to Buc-ee's and that's it.
I still have not been. I've driven past it like 12 times and just haven't gone because I'll see the parking lot and how many people are there and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, it's room for everybody, man. It's a big place.
It's gotten to the point now because the St. Augustine location.
Yeah.
There's a little free plug for everybody. But it's gotten to the point if we drive past it as a family, we're stopping.
You got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going
and
to
by
get
the way,
brisket
reserve an hour.
sandwiches. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Good point.
All right, we'll talk about Houston. We'll talk about the rest of the AFC South. And what about Taven Bryan? The Jags want Taven Bryan, even though you don't, people. Football at 5 coming up on ESPN 690.
CGC Water has been telling you if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Still not a believer? Well, you can believe me. My family has been a happy CGC Water customer for 4 years now. Customer service is tremendous. We got our water tested. We were told about our options in financing in detail. No pressure, just information. Installation was quick, and the CGC team was there every step of the way. And we absolutely love it because it works. Heck, I even think my coffee tastes better because of it. And I love my coffee. A Kinetico system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean. Schedule your free water test today and ask how you can save up to $500. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 for details or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
Spring is sprung, the air is warm, flowers are blooming, and the cigars are smoking. Cigars are smoking? That's right. Springtime means Stogie Fest at Aromas. A limited number of tickets are still available for the annual Stogie Fest event. Stogie Fest 2021 is May 14th through the 16th at Aromas off Southside Boulevard. Stogie Fest is for the cigar aficionado to the most occasional smoker. Join Action Sports Jacks at Stogie Fest Friday, May 14th from 3 to 6 p.m. for your chance to win a pair of Stogie Fest VIP tickets. Stogie Fest 2021, May 14th through the 16th.
It's time for some straight talk. Sure, saving money feels good, but cutting your wireless bill in half, that feels really good. Like walk-off home run in the 9th inning kind of good. Okay, maybe not that good, but pretty darn good. With Straight Talk, you can get 25 gigs of high-speed data for $45 a month, up to 50% less than the other guys. Plus, no contract. All on America's best networks. Why pay a whole lot when you could pay half? Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And rental puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Find just what you're looking for at Arlington Toyota. With over 700 new Toyotas available, Arlington has the model you want, with the features you want, at the price you want. And with every new Toyota purchase, you get Arlington's worry-free 30-day exchange policy and a lifetime powertrain warranty with unlimited time and unlimited miles. Shop arlingtontoyota.com or in person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard.
I received a call the other day from a woman. Her husband tragically was unable to call himself, but he had told her, if anything ever happens to me, call Morgan & Morgan. And what higher honor could we receive than protecting someone's family after they're gone? Life can be shattered in a moment. When that happens, know that America's largest injury law firm is here for you. When it comes to law, size matters. We're America's largest injury law firm, Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Josh Scobie, proud supporter of the Guardian Catholic School, where we believe that every child deserves access to a quality faith-based education. Grab your friends and join me for the 17th Annual Golf Classic on June 14th at Jacksonville Golf and Country Club. Play a round of golf to raise money for educational scholarships for deserving children in North Jacksonville. Become a sponsor or reserve your space for the 17th Annual Golf Classic on June 14th. Visit GuardianMillionDollarShootout.com or call 904-765-1920. Guardian Catholic School, faithful protectors of potential.
Fired. Teams 7 through 10 will take part in the play-in to determine the final 2 playoff spots in each conference. And the play-in is actually a good thing, though, believes ESPN's Kendrick Perkins.
In the history of the NBA, towards the end of the season, it tend to get boring. Teams start not to play hard. But now this is the playoffs before the playoffs. It holds guys accountable. I love the play-in tournament because it keeps guys on their toes. It makes guys take the regular season serious and not take it for granted.
Kendrick Perkins on Get Up. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and ESPN's Dave McMenamin report that the Lakers are prepared to be without guard Dennis Schroeder 10 to 14 days due to COVID protocols. NHL Penguins center Evgeny Malkin returns from injury tonight against the Flyers. 7 Eastern, ESPN+.
The next generation of paint protection is here. New 303 graphene nanospray coating will provide up to 12 months of professional level protection, insane water beating, and jaw-dropping shine with one simple application. Visit 303radio.com for more information.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
We're going to play much more man coverage. That hurt the Jaguars last year. That was an area of need. We didn't play well in the back end of our defense, and you got Shaq, you got Tyson, and then you got Ray, and the safety position of Cisco to add to who we already have.
Football at 5 here on a Monday as we start to shift our focus to the 2021 season. We're still in evaluation mode of the draft, but after 4.5 months or 5 months, there will be a longer stretch of time that we talked about the draft than there will be that we focus on the season.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
that's crazy when you think, that just hit me too. I wish you wouldn't have brought that up.
That's what happens when you're 1-15.
Really, Matt? That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to say something that's going to come across completely the wrong way.
Uh-oh. Well, okay. Of all the advice that you've given me, this is one of the things where if you shouldn't say it, you probably shouldn't say it, just to let you know.
I thought 1-15 was kind of fun.
Hey, Kuz, what did I just say to Brent? If you got to think about it,
don't jump.
Don't say it. And you said it. What?
I didn't say I want it again. I'm just telling you, I thought 1-15 was kind of fun.
Why?
Because this whole process was fun.
Well, okay. I mean, the ends or the beginning justify the means, whatever that phrase is, I'm trying to say. Okay, I get that. But having to break doing the wall that says it all, having to do my post, stuff reaction from my house because we couldn't get press box tickets, that's okay. But having to do that every single week and talk about the same things, yeah, well, defensive line, you have to rush the passer. Gardner Minshew, mistakes, got a lot of penalties. Like, it was literally, go back and watch my 3 observations. It was the same video every single week, just different shirts. Okay? So, no, Brent, it wasn't really that fun for me, but I'm glad you had a great time, man.
I really feel like 1-13, it started to be fun. That's
well, it was the exciting part about maybe getting Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and then even the culmination. This was a whole different narrative than we've ever had.
Sure.
The culmination of it all. The draft coverage was really cool to be just different, right? I mean, it was like when you're the number 1 pick, it's kind of like you're in first place of the draft. It was kind of fun.
I got you.
I'm not saying I want that to happen again, and I think that's kind of what. Maybe that's why, to me, again, you got to remember what business we're in, but I think that's why, to me, it was kind of a cool time because, one, it had never happened in the history of the franchise, and they've been bad quite often. And so you look down the road and you're like, okay, well, what's the chances this happens again in the next even decade, 15 years, 20 years? And now that you have this guy, really, what's the chances of it? So, again, it could be you hope it's a once in a 50-year type of thing, but it genuinely could be for the Jags. I mean, they could go another 25 years without having it. And I just thought the whole thing around it, because of the unique nature of it, and because Trevor Lawrence was available.
Oh no,
and all that.
You were having a blast, Brent. I mean, you're in the middle of Buffalo Wild Wings with some guy on your shoulders, and you're parading around, cheering and everything. It was a great time.
It was good.
Meanwhile, I'm on social media saying, I don't want the Jaguars to tank, and fans taking it the wrong way, and then all of a sudden I'm getting attacked because I don't want to see Trevor Lawrence come here, even though that's not what I said in the first place. Just saying the player's perspective.
It's the most tickets they've ever sold at 1-15 in the history of the franchise.
That's a good point. For sure.
Yes, it's the first time.
Yeah.
I know. I get it.
Hopefully the only time. But I'm glad you had fun.
It was different. So anyway, now we focus on the season. Let's focus on Taven Bryan for a moment.
Yeah.
We don't need to. We've talked about Taven a bunch. But it was interesting to hear Urban Meyer say, Taven Bryan, 5th-year option, didn't get picked up. Shocker. Stunner.
Yeah.
But Taven Bryan, Urban Meyer come out and say, we want Taven Bryan here. Maybe just as much as a shocker. I mean, that was pretty adamant. Say, hey, we're not giving him the option is essentially what he said in the news conference. But he did say, we want him part of this team this year.
Yeah.
We think we can get something out of him. We've kind of wondered, where the heck do you see him? Like, where's he fit somewhere in here? And I get the hybrid stuff. They might show some 4-3 looks. But your curiosity has been, where's he playing?
Correct. So 2 things here. You can say you want somebody, and I get that, Brent. But what do they always say? Money talks.
Yeah.
Okay? So not giving him the 5th-year option, what is that saying? Yeah, we value you, but do we value you? Okay. Time will tell. Maybe he's got to earn it. So be it. Where do you put Taven Bryan? That's the million-dollar question. And if we go off of what Joe Cullen said, he's going to tailor his defense to the guys that he has. I love that. You know how I feel about that. I've spoken that many times before. But let's be honest. And I love Taven Bryan. I love him as a person. I love the drive that he plays with. Obviously, it just comes down to read recognition and refining his skills, which he still hasn't done. But if you're Joe Cullen right now and you see all your personnel and you're trying to tailor this defense, you see, okay, we got Miles Jack here. Got to remember that. Okay. Josh Allen. Okay. Caleb on Chase on. All right. I mean, maybe he can. Are you really going to tailor your defense around Taven Bryan? And
no.
This is a legitimate question.
There's no tailoring. No.
Okay. So let's keep that in mind then. So of all the guys that you brought in for your personnel, you got Jihad Ward that you brought in yourself. You got Harris out of Chicago. You bring in Malcolm Brown. It's got all the characteristics. It has all the symptoms of that 3-4 defense, and that's kind of what we've established now with Joe Cullen at his press conference. It's going to be a base 3-4 defense. Well, with Taven Bryan, we saw him play a glimpse of that as a big defensive end where sometimes you got a 2-gap, right? He was essentially playing Calais Campbell's spot. And how did he do his rookie year? He struggled. He sputtered and he struggled.
It was a bad move.
He was out of position. He didn't really have a lot of time to learn that position. So, he was essentially a back against the wall, thrown to the wolves right away. Well, then as he progresses now in his career, he plays more 3 technique. And what do we see? Yeah, sure. Every once in a while we see the glimpse there. We see the get off. We see causing chaos in the backfield. But do we see enough of it from a first-round pick? I think the answer would be no, we haven't seen enough of it. So now going forward on 3-4 defense, where do you put him? I mean, the only spot you can put him is in that big defensive end spot, 2-gapping. I'm not confident in him doing that. I think this could be more of just a situational type play where if it's 3rd and long, you can pin your ears back. Maybe you throw him out there, maybe. But once again, if we're talking about the pass rush skill set of Taven Bryan, what are we really talking about right now? Right? I don't know if there's a lot to go around. So
the bull rush.
Exactly. So I don't know. I don't see Joe Cullen tailoring the defense to him. I don't see him 2-gapping. So I'm not sure what Taven Bryan's going to be able to do. I'll be honest with you.
I can tell you this. The last regime was very frustrated with Taven Bryan.
And they spoke very highly of him going into the season as well.
They love but it was August where he looked like, okay, it looks like he's about to take a step, and still really nothing budged from a production standpoint. The fans, he's drawn the ire of the fan base. Really just hasn't delivered hardly anything.
Yeah.
When he delivers anything, it's kind of like, wow, it's the sarcastic golf clap, if you will. So this is it, though. See, I love when players are in this situation. Like, if I was an I thought this is why 17 they did so well. They had so many players that were in show-me years, contract years. It's do or die. You better do it or you're done, not just here in Jacksonville, but maybe even in the league. From Smoot, and look what he's been able to do. Yeah. I think you have DJ Chark in here. And by the way, DJ Chark's performed, so I'm not trying to put him in this category. But DJ Chark now is in a contract year. A lot of motivation, right, to even have a huge year. That helps. Cam Robinson, a lot of motivation to have a huge year. So I like when guys are in this situation. I think teams like when they're in that situation, too. And that's why they don't give contracts super early, because you get a hungry player, hungry offseason, hungry regular season, and for production. Yeah. So that's why we see it all the time, and we see it in sports, right? They usually, that's some of their best years. Well, the motivation is about as high as you can get to deliver whatever you got in your tank.
No, I mean, listen, if you want a second contract, you want to make some money, Taven Bryan understands you have to have a year this year. No ands, ifs, buts about it. But let me ask you this, Brent. What does Taven Bryan do well? No, I'm being serious because he does things well. I'm asking you, what do you think Taven Bryan does well? To me, it would be the intensity, it would be the aggressiveness of getting up the football. I was going to say, I mean, the strength and speed. I mean, his athletic ability is off the charts according to the people down there. Sure.
I mean, Calais Campbell used to tell me that. He's like, this guy, man, I mean, he's got that first step you talk about. He's got strength, raw, like Wyoming strength kind of guy. I mean, there's stuff to fall in love with Taven Bryan.
Of course. And what does he struggle on? I would say read and mental recognition, the mental part.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me, though, is that we're going to put a guy in now at a 3-4 defense where it's all mental, Brent, because you're getting double-teamed every single play, and you got to know, do I go inside or outside?
He's really struggled with that.
What types of blocks are these? Where in a 4-3 defense, you can pin your ears back a little more from a 3 technique and say, okay, this is my gap right here. Don't get reached, and I'm going and I'm attacking. Now you got to go, okay, this is my gap and this is my gap. What type of block am I getting? What do I have to do? How do I take on this double team and all this stuff? It's a lot more on your plate from a mental perspective. And we both agree that's where Taven Bryan struggles with, at least what we've seen so far. I don't know, man. It's going to have to be a lot of film watch. It's going to have to be a lot of walkthrough. And it's going to have a lot of read and recognition from Taven Bryan. And unfortunately, we haven't seen that. Now, not to say maybe the light finally goes off and he gets that, but he has to do that in a 3-4 defense. You can't just pin your ears back and go. That's not how it works in a 3-4.
I've got one last thought on Taven Bryan. I think this is the most fascinating player the Jags have on their roster when it comes to this context. Urban Meyer saying we don't have bad players. There are not bad players. It's us as coaches that have to get the best out of those players. Yeah. And if you look at Joe Cullen, that's a guy you played for. You look at his resume, he's gotten the best out of a lot of players. He gets a chance to work with Taven Bryan. You look at Urban Meyer, who preaches that and says, and you know it. You know he believes, even if he didn't preach it, that I'm going to get the best out of this guy or that guy. Well, Taven Bryan is like the poster child for this going into the year. If they can't get anything out of Taven Bryan, that does say a lot about Taven Bryan. And by the way, if they do get something out of him, I'm not sure it's a knock against the other coaches from Wash to Marone and everybody else. It just didn't click for him. But I do think it's an interesting study going into this year on Urban and on Cullen, but especially Urban, who says we don't have bad players. We got to get the most out of those players. We got to put them in position to succeed. He's a great example of what they're trying to build here, and it'll be fascinating to watch what happens with Taven Bryan over the next 5 or 6 months.
To me, though, Brent, like I said, it's a little disappointing because they're not going to tailor, Joe Cullen won't tailor his defense to Taven Bryan. And to me, it's a little bit of a disappointment just because I feel like he's better suited for a 4-3 defensive tackle more than he is a 3-4 defensive tackle. That's how I feel. It's what I've seen in his skill set. So I get what you're saying here, and they're going to try to milk every ounce of talent out of Taven Bryan. It's just the fact that, is he in the best possible scenario to succeed? I would say absolutely not in the 3-4.
All right, we'll see what they do with him. But Taven Bryan, no fifth-year option, not a surprise. Let's see if they get anything out of Taven Bryan in 2021. Florida Sportsman Fishing Report time with Rick Riles. Hope you had a fantastic weekend, man. Getting hot out there on the water, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. But I tell you what, as long as we waited for this hot weather, I think 3 weeks of it, we'll be back calling for a cool breeze again. Ain't no doubt about that. You know, that Urban Meyer guy, he's got a little bit to back up that talk about getting the best out of coaches. Brent, consider best out of players. Consider this. Chris Leak and Tim Tebow are national championship quarterbacks.
Yeah, college game, right? A little bit different, but yeah, he's got a strong resume that says a lot of those players that he got a lot out of, you know.
I don't think Chris Leak wins the national championship with too many other coaches, but I may be wrong. Let's talk fishing, something I know a little bit more about, and it was a fine weekend, particularly offshore. The cobia run is on full bore. Now, there's manta rays all up and down the beach, and they've got a lot of cobia on them, but you better watch it because a lot of them are undersized. Steve Proctor said he probably saw 40 or 50 cobia yesterday. Only a couple of them reached the legal limit. No question about the legal limit for one Brad Reed. He and the guys on the Bet-A-Buck won the Northeast Florida Marlin Association tournament, Captain Daniel Brown, with a 450-pound blue marlin that they released on Saturday to claim the first place. So congratulations to those boys. The offshore fishing in general is very good. The mahi, a dozen a boat like that. That's about what we expect this time of year. Those are good, solid days. Nothing wrong with that. The beeliners are biting very well. The triggerfish. You get inshore and it gets a little tough. Things kind of flip-flop. The reds were finicky this week, although there were a number of 26-inch plus speckled trout caught. Several fish in the 5 to 7 pound range, and that's awfully good to see. I like the way our weather's shaping up, Brent. I really do. I think this week may be the best week of 2021 so far in terms of putting fish on the dock.
Awesome stuff, Rick Riles. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, 5:15 on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
We'll be here, and, of course, it'll be brought to you by Workman's Quick Fix Plumbing. Thank you, Brent. Take care, Austin.
You bet. Have a good one. That is Rick Riles. Make sure you check out the show each and every Saturday, by the way, 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. on ESPN 690.
I will say this about Captain Rick's point, though, about Chris Leak. Urban Meyer did do a good job with Chris Leak, because keep in mind what happened. Urban Meyer comes from Utah, runs this high-powered spread offense. You have Chris Leak, not the most mobile guy, and he actually toned down the offense, what he was accustomed to running, to fit Chris Leak's needs and what Chris Leak does best. And what happened?
Yeah.
National championship.
Yeah, and inserted Tebow where needed for that element of the game.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's a good point by Captain.
Yeah, well, I think that's the one. Urban's a smart offensive guy. He's a smart guy to begin with. And so I think he doesn't get stuck in cookie cutter land.
No, but you know how it works, man. With offensive-minded coaches, it's their offense, and you've learned to love it, right?
To it.
Yeah.
I think that's been part of his success, is he has the ability to cater it around certain players, especially. That will help. Hey, Jumbo Shrimp season starts tomorrow. They're sold out of tickets, so that's pretty cool. Remember, it's pretty cool time for those guys. They've been down for the last year and change. I mean, even this season got delayed a month. Last year it didn't have a season. So good luck to everybody at the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp as they open the gates tomorrow on the 2021 season. If you missed it a month ago or so, we are your official station for Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp baseball games. So listen to the first one tomorrow night. Coverage will start shortly after our show at 6:50 p.m. A little pregame into first pitch right around 7 o'clock. And you can win some tickets to Jumbo Shrimp games. Just go to ESPN690.com, the contest page on ESPN690.com. I'd ask you about the rest of the people in the AFC South. The Houston Texans. They make a pick not until the third round. They pick Davis Mills out of Stanford. Deshaun Watson. Is he just like out of our memory banks right now? I mean, does that speak volumes about what's about to happen potentially to Deshaun Watson? Does he play a snap again for Houston? I mean, what did that one pick, and really the only one that caught anybody's attention, say about the Houston Texans and Deshaun Watson?
I know. Well, it's just so funny, right? Because you know how I feel about Texans Twitter. Well, Houston didn't pick in the first or second round, right? No. Okay. So your first chance to make an impression, what do you do, Houston Texans? You take Davis Mills quarterback. And obviously, the internet just erupted. Because now it's, this is a replacement. We're going with David Mills to replace Deshaun Watson. Now, obviously, Brent, that's not the case. But that's what people want to say, right? I don't know what the case is with Deshaun Watson. All of a sudden, it's Tim Tebow and Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson's an afterthought, it seems like, right? I have no idea where everything stands. I haven't heard a lot about it. One could assume all the accusations, but which again, should be taken very seriously. All those that came out, this is going to be tied to litigation for a long time, one would assume. Right, Brent? I mean, if you're talking about 20-plus
Yeah, I don't see it ending anytime soon. But I also don't see a resolution. So what does that mean? Where is the NFL going to come down on this? See, what happens a lot of times, the teams will have a sense of that before anybody else has a sense of that. Does Houston have a sense of where this thing is going, right? You know that works inside the building. The building usually knows. I always say this, even the building had a sense about, as awful as it was, even their Aaron Hernandez situation, because like 6 hours after word started to spread a little bit, he was released. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to hang with this guy. We're going to see if this is true. Yeah. Or no, he was gone, which means they had heard significant things, even in that small window of time, which, by the way, probably wasn't a small window of time. They'd probably heard a lot over time. And that's what happens. Like, they know stuff usually. I wonder if they have a feel for where the Watson thing is going, even if we really don't.
I'm sure they have a lot better idea than we do. I don't think, though, them getting, Davis Miles is essentially, Deshaun's not going to be here anymore. I just think it's a fail-safe because, I mean, it's that important a position. And once again, let's say that Deshaun Watson is found innocent of all these charges, which could take a long time. Well, then who's to say, you know what, Houston, remember I said I don't want to play for you guys? Yeah, I still want to play for you guys. Yep, I got off lucky and I didn't get anything charged against me. Fantastic. I'm back playing football. Oh, but by the way, still don't want to play for you guys. So have fun with that. You have Tyrod Taylor, you have Ryan Finley, and then now you have Davis Mills. So, I just feel like that pick right there, that was the fail-safe. That was just the in-case pick for Deshaun Watson. I almost said Tyrod Taylor like he's Deshaun Watson. Whoops.
Yeah, and so they have Nico Collins again from Michigan, a receiver. Brevin Jordan, the tight end. He's going to be interesting because the Jags could have had him. Yeah. He obviously lost a lot of luster during the process. At the same time, though, you already got Pharaoh Brown and Jordan Akins, so to me that was a luxury. I don't know. Well, it doesn't. My point being, Brevin Jordan, he wasn't wowing people. No, he wasn't. A lot of people let him go. He fell. And it wasn't a deep tight end draft to begin with. True. Garrett Wallow, an inside linebacker, and Roy Lopez. So, again, Houston is still a mess. Yes. I mean, clear as day. Indianapolis, real quick. I like Kwity Paye, probably because he's from Rhode Island. But I thought that was a guy that we talked about this on Friday.
That guy to the key to the state right now.
Yeah, I thought Titans had actually taken him in my memory bank, but is the Colts. Yeah. And I wondered if he was the one that even Urban was talking about. Turns out it was Kadarius Toney that Urban was talking about breaking their heart. Yeah. They pick up a defensive end, tight end, safety, Sam Ehlinger, the quarterback from Texas, they brought in as well. Sean Davis, by the way, is with safety from Florida, who they added. I mean, Indianapolis, I think the talk in Indy is, did they get enough on at left tackle that they were trying to get? No would be the answer. But Indy's still very good. They're a very well-built, constructed roster. I'm not sure how much the draft was going to change my mind either way.
Yeah, from the Colts picks, obviously you get two defensive guys right off the get, two edge rushers essentially. Both that need to be coached up a little bit, but that's kind of the point, right? Like when you're pretty established on both sides of the ball, you can afford to bring in these raw guys a little bit, coach them up, and then have maybe some Pro Bowl type of dudes. And that's what Indianapolis did, where there wasn't a lot of glaring holes. They addressed the tight end position a little bit, but once again, you still have Jack Doyle, Mo Alley-Cox, if you buy into him as well. Yeah, I think the Colts, they know they have a good roster, so they said, hey, let's go ahead and take some maybe raw guys that we can coach up and maybe get some Pro Bowlers out of those guys as well.
One other team to talk about quick, the Titans. They get Caleb Farley. We talked about that on Friday. Dylan Radunz, a lot of people like this guy, offensive lineman.
who's like the most Titans pick of all time.
North Dakota State.
Take a look at the guy.
Yeah.
That guy's a Tennessee Titan.
Monty Rice from Georgia, a corner, Elijah Molden from Washington. You know his name. So interesting to me is they stuck to kind of who they are. They went heavy defense to try to keep getting that defense. Remember, they had no pass rush last year. They can help the pass rush a little bit with the corner Farley, and they probably got good value in Farley, dipping into the early 20s. And then they got offensive line. I mean, it kind of fits the MO of the Titans, what they did in the draft.
Yeah, obviously with Farley, it's a great pick if he stays healthy. But once again, you're taking a little bit of a red flag because he's got it, and back issues are nothing to mess with, Brent. I'm sure as any middle-aged man who's got a herniated disc can tell you. So it is a risk there. But once again, if those can pay dividends and he stays healthy, yeah, it's going to be a great pick by the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, so nobody was like, wow, oh my gosh, they either pulled away or they did this. These are already two pretty good teams, the Titans and the Colts. Jags got to go catch him. Houston is in the bottom of the barrel right now in terms of projecting their football team. It looks a mess, and they haven't done anything to clean it up, and it all revolves around Deshaun Watson. Before we hit a break, let's hit the happy hour horn coos here on a Monday edition of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
The good vibes. Taste the islands and every drop of Vita de Luis Tequila. 100% blue agave from Tequila, Mexico. Good vibes. It's a celebration.
Hey, check out VitaDeLuis.com where you can pick up a bottle of Añejo, Reposado, or Blanco tequila. Owned right here by folks in Jax Beach and brought in from Tequila, Mexico to Jacksonville Beach. Check it out, VitaDeLuis.com. Cinco de Mayo coming up Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're going to be at Cantina Louis on Monument Road, by the way.
I like it.
Come on out.
I like it,
Say
man.
hello.
I like it.
Maybe a sample or two of Vita de Louis.
Why not?
Careful what you got going on after.
Bring some tequila back for me.
We still got some right here, Kuz. Actually, no, we don't. That's
Kuz, we
gone.
don't-
That's
we don't
right.
have
We're
a
out
lot
of
of
that.
Kuz took that with him to Cancun.
That's right.
I will say we were trying to do a tequila tasting while we were there.
Yep.
And I was just like, you know what? Nothing's going to be better than Vita. So
There you go.
I don't want.
Oh, that's very good. Steal that endorsement.
I was going to say, did you record that?
Yeah.
That's very good.
I'm going to send that off to him real quick now.
But I agree with you. You're right. It's very smooth.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you're doing well here on a Monday.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Fair to partly cloudy tonight, only dropping into the 60s, and at a hot Tuesday in the low 90s. With the First Alert forecast, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where now through Mother's Day, you can save thousands on that one-of-a-kind gift for mom.
It's been 6 months since my wife leased her new Cadillac from Fields Auto Group, and she absolutely loves it. It's our first experience with Fields, and it's been terrific. They say you can step up to luxury for less, and we did. Not just a luxury Cadillac XT6. The car is beautiful, but the customer service is extra special, too. It was like that at Fields Cadillac Jacksonville, and it will be like that at any of the Fields locations in Jacksonville. Cadillac, of course, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche as well. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. We are now part of that Fields Amenities program, and my wife tried the loaner program. It was easy and a nice added benefit. So whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less. Check out their locations all around Jacksonville, just like we did. You can go visit fieldsauto.com.
It's Good Morning at Moe's in St. Augustine only at 312 and US 1. It's the only Moe's in the country serving breakfast burritos. Full breakfast menu only at the St. Augustine location. Made to order food in the drive-thru. Hot, fresh breakfast on the go. Make it a better morning with Moe's Southwest Grill. Start your days with the home wrecker breakfast burrito. St. Augustine location only, served daily at 6 a.m. Moe's is ready to serve you breakfast. Make it a better morning with Moe's.
There is a taste of the islands in every drop of Vita de Luis tequila, imported directly from Tequila, Mexico to Jacksonville Beach. Vita de Luis is the only locally owned tequila in Jax Beach. Support local and try Vita de Luis. Award-winning, smooth, all natural, no aldehydes or additives, which means wake up feeling good the next morning. Find out where you can pick up a bottle of Vita de Luis, Blanco, Reposado, or Añejo. Just visit VitaDeLuis.com. Support local and taste the islands in every drop.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent. With help from Family Support Services of North Florida, you provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Hi, I'm attorney Robert Rubenstein, and this is Rubenstein's Rules for Personal Injury. Rule number 11.
Truck accidents require special attention. Sometimes trucking companies put their drivers in a difficult position, and accidents happen. Driving without sleep can be as dangerous as drunk driving. Loads can be too heavy. Evidence needs to be preserved for inspection without delay. Some trucking companies hide insurance, but we know how to find it. Call Rubenstein Law at 1-800-FL-LEGAL. Offices in Jacksonville and throughout Florida.
Pregnancy can be an exciting time, but for many moms, it can mean feeling anxious, depressed, confused, or overwhelmed. Either during pregnancy or after having your baby, you may not quite feel like yourself. If you're experiencing these feelings, you are not alone, and mental health issues can be treated. Talk with your OB or connect with a mental health provider in your area by visiting flbhimpact.org. This message is supported by the Health Resources and Services Administration, the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Biedenball. Weather here is unique. It could be bright and sunny one minute and then a downpour the next. That's why mornings are when you need us the most. So you can plan your day, no matter if you're getting ready to go to work or working from your living room, getting the kids ready for school or ready for lunchtime. I'm on TV explaining how weather is going to affect your day and night ahead, so you're prepared for anything. I'll get you ready on Action News Jax this morning.
Opening day at the ballpark? It's always been something to celebrate. But this year, after everything, this opening day may be the best one ever. That's why Jacksonville's Hometown Credit Union, One-to-One Financial, and Jacksonville's home team, the Jumbo Shrimp, invite everyone to join us May 4th for opening day. Welcome back, baseball. Welcome back, Jacksonville. Welcome back to opening day, May 4th, from One-to-One Financial, a bright path forward.
I should have my kid tell you about Jumpin' Jack's House of Food. It's Ty's favorite burger in town. Make it one of your favorites as well. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food has 3 locations now: Atlantic Beach, Mandarin, and downtown Jacksonville. Change your life burgers. But they have salads, pizza, and much more on the menu, too. Let Jumpin' Jack's House of Food be your great neighbor. Lunch or dinner with the family, or they will cater parties from 200 to 500 people. Jumpin' Jack's, HOF.com for online ordering. Jumpin' Jack's House of Food, open 7 days a week.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
Then you start to realize that the reason New Orleans Saints hadn't made a Super Bowl in the last few years is Drew Brees. Drew Brees wasn't the same guy late in season.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and watch exclusively on ESPN+.
The Max Kellerman Show. The Nets started out the season without James Harden, who's their second best player, and then have played recently without Kevin Durant, who's their best player. Also, when Kyrie joined the team, he and Harden had to figure things out. There was an adjustment period. And so the Nets' record does not reflect, their entire record does not reflect the team they've become. The Max Kellerman Show, weekdays at 2 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Watch exclusively on ESPN+.
Brent Martineau. But we could really take this show off the rails if we wanted to go all like half politics, half sports.
Austin Lane.
I mean, have you been on Twitter lately? Do you want extra $100,000? Do you want a scholarship? Let's go politics when we get back here.
Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
My thought is that he never has a guard. You heard him say there, you always have to be on. But on is his normal. But I marvel at the composure. I marvel at the grace. I marvel at the perspective, because that's perspective I didn't have until I was 40 years old. I wasn't able to process that. Yes, I love being at ESPN. Nobody has more passion for what they do than I do. But I don't want it to define me. I want it to be a platform for kindness. I want it to be a platform for effort and passion. And you and I being able to bring joy to people through programs like this. But I don't want it to define me. Yeah. I can love it and it not define me at the same time, right? And he already has that.
That is Marty Smith on Marty and McGee talking about Trevor Lawrence. And Marty Smith was at Trevor Lawrence's house, of course, on draft night. I really like Marty Smith. I think he does a terrific job.
Yeah, I mean, it was an honor to sit with him for a couple minutes at the Florida-Georgia weekend a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Just because, like, that guy, he's different because he's himself.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sometimes you get in the cookie-cutter, landscape and everything. Like, Marty Smith is unique. He's different. He's got that southern twang, and he's proud of that. And that's a really cool thing about Marty Smith.
Well, he's super genuine.
Yeah.
in terms of the nature of being just kind of like a kind soul, you know? I mean, he really is.
He's just a solid dude.
Yeah. So, and it comes across on TV as well. And he's just, you're right. I like him. I'm a big fan of him.
You want to have a beer with that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's a good person to have at Trevor Lawrence's home. Well, not really home, but in Clemson, South Carolina for the draft party, of course.
Maybe you should have got a little Southern accent. You could have been there yourself. You blew it.
I should be a little kinder soul.
Maybe
have a chance.
I feel like you're a pretty kind soul, but I don't know about that, man. You're a nice dude, man.
I don't know. I mean, I was on Marty and McGee last weekend. I mean, does that count for something?
I think they'll bring the kind souls on that show. They're not bringing any kind of riffraff. I wasn't on there for sure, so yeah, it's all good. They weren't asking me there.
We haven't even talked a lot Trevor Lawrence today.
Crazy.
Talked a lot about him on Friday and for the last 5 months.
Yeah.
Now what? Right? Now what for Trevor? We said this a little bit, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of took care of a lot of that stuff. I feel like he's about to flip to football again.
Yeah.
You know, that's what my sense is. That okay, we talk about like, hey, get in the locker room, you get the offseason conditioning, you know, get acquainted with the building and play. So there's a little acclimation process, but I think I would imagine, based on his skill set, talent, history, trends, idol of Peyton Manning, I believe this guy's going to just get himself swamped into that quarterback room as quick as possible. I don't know what that actually looks like and means, if I'm being completely honest. But the playbook he's already had a little bit of a sample of, and who knows, he might have even had more of the sample of it than anybody even knows over these last couple weeks. Heck, it could even be a couple months. Jags knew they were going Trevor Lawrence in February. So, probably in December, but they really knew in February. I wonder what that looks like now for him, this march toward the rookie year. How do you speed things up without being too crazy about it, but at a good pace? Because he's going to be the day one starter.
Yeah, I think obviously first and foremost, make sure that shoulder is 100%.
True.
Even though it's your non-throwing shoulder, it's still, obviously you got to do what you got to do there. And then when it is 100%, to me, it's about building that rapport with your wide receivers now. Right, because it's one thing to be a great quarterback, and that's fine, but you still have to build that relationship, the timing, all that stuff with your wide receivers, and that takes place in the offseason. That takes place long before training camp actually gets underway. So I assume maybe some, private workouts, things like that with some of his wide receivers, and he just starts building the chemistry, which is so important, and then he goes from there.
Well, and I think, again, there's going to be something I think is important to bring up a couple of times, several times, remind people that one of the reasons I believe Urban Meyer has Darrell Bevell and Brian Schottenheimer is because he's a guy that's worked with these franchise QBs before. Those are guys that have worked with franchise QBs before. We're talking Russell Wilson, with Bevell. He knows what that's like to come in and transition. And by the way, Wilson was not a guy with expectation that first year, but he won the job in camp and became the starting quarterback over Flynn, who was given the big contract.
He made some big-time bucks.
Right?
Yeah.
So these are guys that have experience around this kind of player. Not necessarily this kind of person or a guy with this skill set. Everybody's different in that sense. But this kind of player, how the franchise should treat him, and they've had success with it, too. See, that's good. Like, that's a track record of success. And how you get the best out of him. You can go to Matt Stafford. I think Stafford's a little bit different in this case with Bevell because, again, Russell Wilson, it was like a day one type of thing. Stafford, obviously pretty well established, but he still got to work with an extreme talent. So I think that part of the setup in Jacksonville fascinates me. And it's really like my vision is, okay, it's Urban and Trevor. But I think in the belly of that stadium, in the belly of Jags headquarters, I just have this vision of Schottenheimer, Lawrence, and Bevell doing a lot of work, man. Like going to work, like walking down the hall to the lunchroom together, inside the meeting room, inside the film room, inside the playbook. It's those three guys that are going to be attached at the hip, in my opinion. I don't know if that's true, but that's why I visualize it.
It's definitely going to be a collective. Obviously we say Urban Meyer all the time just because the only reason why he's really in Jacksonville as the head coach is because of Trevor Lawrence. So Trevor Lawrence means that much to him and his NFL career. So, yeah, it'll be Urban Meyer attached to Trevor Lawrence. But, no, I completely agree with you. You look at a guy that essentially started from the ground phase of Russell Wilson and helped build him up to where he is today. why wouldn't you want that resource to help with Trevor Lawrence? Why wouldn't you want that brain to help bounce ideas and bounce off questions with? So that brain will be there. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
All right, I got one for you. Any surprise Gardner Minshew is still on the roster and the draft has ended?
Good question. Yeah. I mean, obviously, because when you bring in C.J. Beathard, the writing's on the wall. So why you didn't try to get something for him? Maybe you asked too much. I think a fourth would have been fair. So I am a little surprised. I'm a little surprised the teams didn't call inquiring about Gardner Minshew, let's just say. I mean, and maybe they did. But once again, yeah, we don't know.
I've got to believe there have been talks. I think it was, what was the early one when, like Chicago? Remember Chicago was kind of rumored, right?
Yeah.
I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised Gardner Minshew's still on the roster. I think there was that narrative that I don't know where it came from, whether it was the Jags or his camp or whatever, to say, hey, Minshew's kind of being shopped.
Yeah.
That could have, we said that at the time, it could come from the Jags. It could, because it's real, it could come from Minshew's camp because he wants out. It could come from other teams just inquiring. So we don't know where the origin of that is, but that was a narrative there for a little bit here in town and around the National Football League. Now you just said it. You look at a team that has Trevor Lawrence and undeniably going with Trevor Lawrence.
Yes.
And then you look at a team that has C.J. Beathard for 2 years, $5 million they invested in. Like, They went and got him. They didn't just have him. They went and got him.
Yes.
And they have Jake Luton, who they just spent a pick on, and he's got some of the measurables and things that people like in this business kind of like, you know?
Yeah.
Like in that football world, they like some of the things Luton has, and you can kind of keep him on the roster almost risk-free for the time being.
Yeah.
And then you have Gardner Minshew, who, again, is a very affordable contract, who comes with some good experience, a lot of good experience. But you don't know if he's happy or is he unhappy. Does he really want to be here? Should he be here?
Be honest,
I don't know.
If you're Gardner Minshew and you're happy, then something's wrong with you, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like,
I'm not faulting him for it.
No. I'll be honest. I hope he's not happy right now. I hope that he saw C.J. Beathard come in and it's like, hey, what the hell, man? Okay, so I don't think Gardner Minshew's the most happy right now, and he shouldn't be happy because I think this guy can definitely still play in the NFL. I think he's at least, he's built up the resume to say, I can go be a backup someplace else for sure. Now, they go C.J. Beathard. It is what it is. So be it. I don't know. I guess I am just a little surprised, though, because what does Gardner Minshew give you now going forward if you're Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean, what does he do for your team? Does he run a crazy scout team period? Okay. Like, I'm not saying like you're doing him a disservice and you're not doing him a favor by keeping him, but really, I feel like you could definitely get a 5th-round pick for him, and then hopefully a 4th. Like, is that crazy to think, Brent? Isn't that obvious?
I don't think you get a 4th-round pick. No.
What did you give up for Dobbs?
You gave up 5th, but at a somewhat desperate time because you didn't have much.
Teams are going to be desperate.
In a COVID year. I mean,
Okay,
but nobody's desperate right now. They just had a draft. You can pick up undrafted free agents. So nobody's desperate at this moment.
I'm just saying.
And I'm not saying you have to be desperate to go get Gardner Minshew, but you're not. The Jags the Jags are in a less leveraged situation, knowing that they now have 4 quarterbacks on the roster and a guy that probably wants out of there in any kind of trade scenario that would involve Gardner Minshew. My guess is they tried to trade him, or people called about him. I would assume. I don't know where his fit is, and you and I we're Minshew fans. Like again, if they went to C.J. Beathard for a reason, they looked into Alex Smith for a reason. I think I'd rather have, in fact, I know what. I'd rather have Gardner Minshew out there than C.J. Beathard in a game. Like, I really would. I don't know about you, but I would.
Yeah, I think it'd be close, especially at that price tag, too, for Minshew.
But it said volumes that they don't plan on doing that, right? And they don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a hard time to believe that you can't get at least a 5th-round pick for a guy who has two more years left on a rookie contract and has a lot of playing experience. Can you get a 5th-round pick for that guy? Come on, man.
Yeah, maybe Houston will deal something.
Well, but Houston's got Tyrod now. I mean, they got.
I don't know. They got Taylor and they got Davis Mills and whatever's going on with Watson.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the landing spot is for him. I don't know, but I
Denver?
also don't. I'm a little surprised he's still on the roster at this point.
When Aaron Rodgers doesn't come to Denver, go ahead and give the Jaguars a call.
Or when Aaron Rodgers does go to Denver, Green Bay gives a call.
That's a good point too. Don't say
Nathaniel Hackett, although
Brent,
Hackett wouldn't have been here.
You have endorsements coming out of Wisconsin
Would
now.
Hackett
Don't be
have been
saying
here
that.
with Minshew? Was there an overlap here?
No.
No?
No, I don't think so.
No, that wouldn't have been the case, I don't know. I think that's fat. What is going to happen with Gardner Minshew to me is still very intriguing. Does he get to the season on this roster and then there's a decision to be made? I don't know. Still kind of hoping the best works out for Gardner Minshew, but it doesn't seem like it is here in Jacksonville.
There's better places to be right now if you're Gardner Minshew, to be honest.
We'll be back. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
J.J. Watt, interesting choice. Imagine the conversation we're having today if he signed in Green Bay. Instead, he goes to Arizona, signs to play in the best division in football. Are they the fourth best team in that division? Could be. He went to the place that had the salary cap space to afford him. And again, that's not a criticism. It's just a simple statement of fact.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg. Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio. And watch exclusively on ESPN+.
CGC Water has been telling you if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Still not a believer? Well, you can believe me. My family has been a happy CGC Water customer for 4 years now. Customer service is tremendous. We got our water tested. We were told about our options in financing in detail. No pressure, just information. Installation was quick, and the CGC team was there every step of the way. And we absolutely love it because it works. Heck, I even think my coffee tastes better because of it. And I love my coffee. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean. Schedule your free water test today and ask how you can save up to $500. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Financing available with approved credit. Call 904-552-1242 for details or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
I'm a call it like I see it guy. Sometimes that twists the competition's panties in a bunch. Sometimes it causes pearl clutching. But it always lets you listeners know the truth. Last January, I told you winter was slow and you could get a deal on upgraded systems because it's true. And here's the truth about summer. Most AC breakdowns happen from stress testing during that first string of scorching hot days in summer, causing every reputable AC company to be booked out at least 2 or more days. Any company not booked solid in summer isn't a company you want in your home. But who wants to sweat it out 2, 3, or more nights waiting for a new AC? At Griffin Service, we've solved the logistics to fix that problem, because we fix what others can't. We call it our Sign Today, Sleep Cool Tonight program. So if you forgot the tune-up in spring and things go to turd buckets in summer, don't sweat it out waiting. Call Griffin for our Sign Today, Sleep Cool Tonight guarantee, exclusively at
GriffinService.com.
CMC 1250697.
Boss! Crooks R Us just put out a special bulletin about Safe Touch security.
Special bulletin about Safe Touch? Oh, this is gonna fire up my ulcer, I know it.
Boss, the headline says, Safe Touch Security has announced their new advanced video surveillance system.
Oh, here it comes.
Oof, this is huge. It's a multi-camera interior and exterior professional surveillance system with 24/7 video storage.
Great. Just what we need is Safe Touch up in their game again.
Boss, this is next level. I think Fort Knox would be jealous of this thing.
Deep breaths. They can keep their fancy camera system. It doesn't change the Crooks R Us golden rule one bit. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Nope, doesn't change it, but it sure underlines it.
Just get me a glass of milk, will you?
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
Find just what you're looking for at Arlington Toyota. With over 700 new Toyotas available, Arlington has the model you want, with the features you want, at the price you want. And with every new Toyota purchase, you get Arlington's worry-free 30-day exchange policy and a lifetime powertrain warranty with unlimited time and unlimited miles. Shop ArlingtonToyota.com or in person at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard.
Shred your goals this year with the new Metabolism Boost Banana Passion Fruit Smoothie from Smoothie King. At only 240 calories and 14 grams of protein per 20 ounces, this crave-controlling meal smoothie has non-GMO whole fruits, naturally derived caffeine, and absolutely no syrups. Or try strawberry pineapple or mango ginger. Start your healthier habit and order online at smoothieking.com. Now for pickup or delivery at any of the Jacksonville area locations. Smoothie King, rule the day.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Vote for this week's ESPN 690 High School Athlete of the Week, presented by Honda of the Avenues. Each week, an athlete with the most votes will be announced on Action Sports Jacks. To vote or nominate your favorite student athlete, go to ESPN690.com or check us out on ESPN 690's Facebook page.
That was a perfect fit. Although he went 15th, I think that, sometimes, I'm not talking about him, sometimes it's better for a player to wait to go to the right team than go high and go to the wrong team. I think that was a great fit for him. Very smart, can operate within the offense. Obviously, was surrounded with some great players. Steve Sarkisian did a good job, made some great decisions. Is mobile, can avoid the rush. He's a lot like Joe. I mean, he's very similar to Joe Burrow.
It's very interesting the context we're getting some of these sound bites today, Coos. I mean, that's Eddie O. It's Ed Orgeron.
Of course.
Yeah.
But he's talking about Mac Jones. He was
is that
asked
what
about
that
Mac
was?
Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had no idea, sir.
What was that on? Do you know what show it was on?
ESPN Draft Radio, so I guess it was just the coverage of the draft.
Okay, so he was helping. I get it. I get it. That
but
makes
still,
sense.
I saw that and I was like, first, I think this is going to throw the guys because they're going to know it's but they're not going to know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that makes sense. So he was actually kind of from an analyst view, the college game. Brett Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Monday. Jags draft in the books. Hey, who has to watch out real quick? I teased that earlier in the show. I want to get to it. I mean, who's on alert? We said C.J. Henderson, Cam Robinson, Jawan Taylor.
I still think
Taven Bryan. But they didn't draft. Did they draft anything that I mean, he was kind of already on alert.
Sure, but the guy from USC, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another number, part of the numbers game.
More depth. Yes, sir.
Anybody else?
Ooh. I mean, maybe the blocking tight ends have to watch out a little bit for more blocking tight ends.
Well, listen, the bottom line is, Minshew, we just talked about, kind of falls in the category, but he's been put on alert since like January.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think what's fascinating is we talk Cam Robinson, and Walker Little, maybe he goes to the left side, and that's where he's going to live, and he takes Cam Robinson's spot. Mm-hmm. But a guy like I have been high on and probably a little wrong on to this point, and I'm hoping he starts to deliver is Jawan Taylor. And Taylor could be somebody else that, hey, at least this first year, if Cam Robinson's playing well, they want to find a spot for a guy like Walker Little to go play over there on the right side.
Yeah.
So I think both those tackles, after giving up, and the numbers are ridiculous about the sacks that the tackles gave up. But depending on which numbers you look at, anywhere between 16 and 18 sacks for Jawan Taylor. Now, again, some of the Minshew stuff, people put that on him because he's running around a little bit. Again, the numbers just jump out at you from the tackle perspective. So
let me ask
I think
you this.
Both those guys are on alert.
Well, let me ask you this. What about Laviska Shenault? Because keep in mind, like Urban Meyer did his due diligence. He watched the film. He evaluated the talent. What was Urban Meyer's biggest thing in the first round? He said that fell out of his lap. It was Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
And he was very adamant he wanted Kadarius Toney. Is that a reflection on Laviska Shenault then? I get it. Different type players, but kind of asking them to do the same thing every once in a while. What about Laviska Shenault?
That's an interesting one. We kind of seem to like Laviska Shenault. I think the fan base likes Laviska Shenault.
Bingo. We're not going to play Kadarius Bingo anytime soon.
Yeah, but could have maybe, or maybe it's ETN Bingo.
But I like Viska Bingo, man.
I think it's not a foregone conclusion. Urban, Bevel, and Schottenheimer like Shenault, like the last staff liked him, or like we like him. Sure. They didn't pick him. And you always have to be careful of that, right? Those that weren't picked by this regime. So I think that's a fair point. I just think the physical nature of him. I know speed doesn't come at it, but the physical nature of him, I almost feel like every coach would love that.
Who you tell? Hey, the guy squats like 500 pounds. I want that guy as a wide receiver. Yes, sir. Please. It's not like he's that slow either. He ran a 4.8 at the combine.
I do think if a guy like Colin Johnson has to try to make a name for himself here soon, because
being 6'6" helps.
Well, you have a lot of bodies now, and even a guy like Jalen Camp coming in the 6th round, he could have a chance to outperform you, sneak some playing time, and you're only going to keep about usually 5 guys up on the receivers. So you run out of room there in a hurry. So I would think he has to perform, start to produce. And there were some bright spots last year from him. There were some moments. But I think those 2 tackles, obviously Minshew. You feel like James Robinson's on alert at all based off the ETN? I don't.
No, but I mean, you're going to be on a little bit of alert because it shows what they think about you. I mean, how could you not be on alert?
I just feel like he's going to be used totally different, and there's enough. I don't want James Robinson 94% of the load this year.
I'm just saying, I see where he's coming from. I felt the same way when you brought a 12-year-old kid to replace me for a couple days.
He's 14, but I would have thought that too.
Nevertheless.
See, listen, you had a hell of a lot more to worry about with the 14-year-old than James Robinson has to worry about with ETN. Let's tell you that. No doubt about it. Hey, we'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30, and back at it tomorrow. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 at 3 p.m. Have a good night, everybody.
Where else can you get luncheon, brunchin', boozin' specials? Only one place, at Culhane's Irish Pub at Atlantic Beach and on the South Side. It's as Irish as you can get, owned by 4 Irish sisters. And they've got fish and chips, of course, shepherd's pie. Go today for lunch or dinner. Eat in, order out. Culhane'sIrishPub.com for the full menu. And try